Before I begin, I would like to thank, first of all, the committee of Ghamghol Sharif Masjid, especially dear brother Yaseen and his team, and Hazrat Qibla Sufi Javed Saab, for allowing us to host part 2 of the truth behind the Mawlid, or the truth about the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Jazakallah to them for allowing us to host this here in Birmingham. Our first talk was in Drasa Al-Hikam Institute in Bradford, and I had only done about 2.5 hours and not even got halfway. And we decided that we're going to do a second part when my voice comes back. Suffice to say that it's more or less back. It's taken a bit of time to recover, but I think it'll do the job today. The post-mortem will be done, as I said last time. Throughout this time, when this entire issue erupted, and don't for one moment think that this has just started now. This has been happening for centuries. But in most recent times, this is the most recent issue in relation to the Mawlid of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I've seen that many of our ulema, the Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah, they have got together. And from amongst those who have vigorously supported myself and Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah in this issue are those that are sat on the chairs. Imam Ijaz Shaami, they, throughout this, have supported myself, giving me words of wisdom and advice. Next to them, Shaykh Yaseen. Throughout this time, regular conversation, discussing. He is a master on the subject of bid'ah. Him and Shaykh Asrar, they annihilated AbdulRahman a few years ago. It's funny that I was watching that debate on the way down. Just wanted to see, and there was too much resemblance between Dimishki's points and Imran bin Mansur's points. To the point I think actually whenever I put a video out, he's gone back to that to get points from his talk. Honestly. Every point, Mikrizi, Khitat, all these points, Shaykh Yaseen had dealt with. But the issue again has erupted. And they have shown a lot of support. With them, Shaykh Asrar, Rashid has shown a lot of support. Regularly we've spoken and we've sat. And many people think his most recent video, I'll clarify it now before I begin, was against me. I'll tell you it wasn't against me. It wasn't against what I'm talking about. And when he does come, his presence will prove that. If he was against me, raising the voice on the mas'ala of the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's not here yet. I think his brother Yasser is at the back over there. He'll confirm as well that he will come. When he does come, that will prove to all of you that his talk wasn't against what I am doing. His talk had other reasons behind it, and in later date, on another occasion, he will explain that to yourselves. Yes, another great alim who has supported me throughout this time is Mawlana Sajjad. He has regularly been in conversation, we've regularly met, and we've discussed this mas'ala. He has shown his unconditional support on this mas'ala. He's not here at this moment in time, but certainly he will be up to date on what's happening. And like this, many other ulama throughout the country, they have shown great support on this mas'ala. We did not think that there would be this many people here in Ghamghol Sharif Masjid tonight. You've all come not for me. Let's correct your intentions now. This isn't about Imam Asim. I'm telling you now, it's nothing to do with me. This is a mas'ala to defend the Mawlid of the Prophet. Whether it's me, whether it's Ijaz Shaami, whether it's Sajjad, Yaseen, Shaykh Asrar, whoever it is, anyone sitting in this place, you have come here in defense of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's blessed Mawlid. That's why you've come. Not come for me. This is something you need to make clear. It isn't about me. There's people within our Sunni community who have hinted and said, oh, he's going out there, he's discussing this issue or matter. It's not about me. Look, if somebody is telling you the Mawlid is haram, and he's got a following of nearly 200,000 on social media, probably most of them were bought. Because certainly, he gets 7,000 views in 12 hours, and alhamdulillah, through the fadl of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we get 30,000, 40,000 views. We haven't bought any land. Ours was an organic process. His was more unorganic, it was more artificial. But in any case, he is speaking out, and if you look at his videos, you will see he gets hundreds of thousands of views on his video. And he's spreading this ideology, this fitna. Somebody has to speak out. Somebody had to raise their voice. Here, I might be a jahil, I might be ignorant, people might perceive me as whatever. He certainly is a jahil. There's no doubt in his compounded ignorance. There's no doubt. That's been proven, that's been shown. But irrespective of his level, how much he knows, we needed to speak out on this issue in defense of this. Every year is the same thing. So we took this step. We collectively have taken this step. And a dalil of that is this that is in front of us right now. People from all over the country are here. Middlesbrough, Oldham, Bradford, Birmingham, London, you name it. Most parts of the country, Scotland, Glasgow, people are here at this moment in time. And they're here for the Prophet ﷺ's Mawlid. One figure I have not mentioned, and I'll mention clearly. Another instrumental figure in all of this is Pir Saqib Shaami Sahab. I forgot, but Pir Saqib Shaami Sahab and myself have had lengthy conversations. From Australia last night, after 1 hour, we were discussing and talking. His murideen will tell you that I sat with them till 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I sat with Maulana Ijaz Sahab 4 in the morning, discussing this issue, this matter. And I must say that it's great to see so many Sunnis united on this mas'ala and this issue. Yes, there are more important issues to deal with in the world. Foreign policy, Palestine, Israel, all these. Perennialism, I agree. These are important issues. We need to tackle and deal with them. However, pertaining to our youth here in this country, in social media, in the UK spectrum, one of the biggest, if not the biggest issue at this time of the year is always the Mawlid. Whether you agree or not, it's always Mawlid debates online. Facebook, Twitter, it's always kicking off. It's always happening. So we need to present our dalil, our hujjat, our proof in defense of that. And that is why we had part 1 and we now have part 2. It's possible this talk may go on for 2.5, 3 hours. So yourselves sit very patiently and learn. Listen to what has to be said, because it's important. There's many points you will learn, many issues that will be clarified, many claims against us will be refuted and answered. So this is very important to keep in mind, inshallah. Many brothers have come, finally. A lot of credit goes down to Ustazi Muhtaram, Qibla Shaykh Zulfikar Head, who have day and night done immense amount of work, research, putting this together, sat with them till 7 o'clock in the morning, preparing all of this, along with Imam Asim Mirza. Our team, our research team, our team in Al-Hikam have day and night spent on this issue. On the mas'ala of the Mawlid. So a lot of credit goes to them as well. I request the Awam to make special dua for our ulema. It is them who are spreading the knowledge of this deen. It is them who are passing on the inheritance that they have inherited, which is knowledge. Innal ulama warathatul anbiya. Scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. They are the heirs of the prophets. Ilm was used here. And this ilm that Allah has bestowed them with, they are continuing our true tradition of the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Allah Ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand the deen. Allah Ta'ala gives us tawfiq to accept what has been said. Sabazrat Rushi Pari Allahumma salli. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال الله تعالى في شأن حبيبه مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله. دوشي بريه.
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي.
Imam Zain al-Abidin rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, the mafhum of what he said was, how do you differentiate Ahlul Sunnah from the Ahlul Bid'ah? They send abundant salawat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you are in a gathering of Mawlid and salawat here right now. All of you should be reading salawat. Ala Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. Everyone collectively, Allahumma salli ala. يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا شفيع المذنبين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel of creation, the crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakening of our souls, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most revered one, the most merciful one, the most kind one, the most generous one, undoubtedly the most beautiful. None other than Sayyiduna wa Nabiyuna Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak sallam. Just before I begin the talk, there is a black Asrar DG15 GYD. It is blocking in the funeral car. It's possible that a body needs to be picked up. If you can please remove this ASAP as soon as possible. I think a lot of you are thinking, you know what, his voice is going to go. Let me tell you with Yaseen. Inshallah. The Prophet ﷺ's fadl and karam. My voice is not going to go. I'm telling you. I said the very same statement last week and my voice was a lot worse. And what happened? My voice actually started coming back. Inshallah, I believe that my voice will stay. There are great Asrar, great secrets, Asrar, in relation to why we are doing what we are doing. Yaqeenan. Allah Ta'ala's khas fazl wa karam is upon us, Ahlul Sunnah, that we raise our voice in defense of the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now let's begin. Many of you will know exactly what's happened. If you're on social media, you will have a good understanding. Imran ibn Mansur, this brother from down south in London, delivered a talk against the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that celebrating the Mawlid is haram. He has put this perception into a number of people's mind, that the Mawlid is haram, it's a bid'ah dalala, a misguided innovation, it has no place in the deen, it is something invented, etc. He did this talk last year. I responded to his talk in Leicester with a challenge. The challenge was proof from the Quran and Sunnah, dalil qat'i, that celebrating, commemorating, rejoicing at the birth of the Prophet ﷺ is haram. He is yet to present concrete, undeniable evidence, irrefutable evidence to prove that celebrating the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is haram. He has tried from this angle, that angle, he's tried everything. But he's yet to answer this direct question that I have asked. He's yet to give it. Give me a proof from Quran and Sunnah that the Mawlid is haram. Celebrating the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ is haram. Videos have been uploaded back and forth. Those who believe in his manhaj, their belief has certified, has become more concrete. Those who believe the way of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, their belief and their certainty has increased more and more. We've received many messages where people have said that we now believe in the Mawlid of Rasulullah. Many people have said, Imam Sahib, you're not presenting no proofs. You sidetracked, no. We have not sidetracked, we've not moved away from the issue. I made it clear on Thursday, I will deal with all the points that you have mentioned and you have contention about. I want to start with the discussion on the topic of innovation bid'ah. His da'wah and claim is that Mawlid is a bid'ah, an innovation, and all innovation is bad. He finds his proof upon the hadith, كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ كُلُّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. We mentioned a few points in last lecture in relation to how the ulema of the Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the understanding of the Sahaba and the great scholars of the Ahlul Sunnah, their understanding on the subject of innovation. I presented the definitions of Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahmatullah alayh, and that of Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam rahmatullah alayh, and like this I've presented other ulama's definition of innovation. When he watched my lecture, he picked out one scholar's specific definition. Whose definition was it? Hafiz ibn Kathir. Kathir. Hafiz ibn Kathir. Don't worry, I've polished up my talaffuz, because you had to go down to this much. You went down to try to refute the Ahlul Sunnah's evidences. You had to pick out talaffuz when my voice wasn't even good in the first place. I mean, come on. Talk about tactics. Even Bengal's tactics are bad. You know, when I say something amusing, many people have said, Imam Sahib, you have a very, what's the word, humor. You use a lot of humor in your talks and style and approach. People laugh in the masjid, it's not good. I don't want to make you laugh. It darkens your graves to present these proofs. Many people have said this to me, I'll clarify to you, that if you're laughing, keep it within limit. I know, I'm not here to entertain you, I'm here to educate you. They both start with E, but they have two different meanings. So keep that within your mind. It's humor, it's within limits, it's nothing that is against or against Sharia, and we hope to keep within those limits. So keep that point in mind, because I know guaranteed, at the end of this speech, when I get home and check inbox on Facebook, somebody will say, why did you make him laugh in the mosque? So I'm clarifying for you now, you don't have to do that. You don't have to laugh. You can just smile, smile in the sunnah. Hafiz ibn Kathir's tafsir of Badi'u Samawati wal Ard, this verse of the Quran, is what he took. He took this verse and then he began to explain its definition. Hafiz ibn Kathir said, bid'ah shari'i and bid'ah lughawi. You know what's the best? His entire mawqif da'wah was, bid'ah cannot be divided. Bid'ah is bad, end of. People have said, Imam Sahib, you've miscrued. You've taken his video clip out of context. Honestly, go watch his videos. His first video, second, third. His stance is, there is one type of bid'ah, bid'ah dalala, or bid'ah is misguided. Kullu bid'atin dalala, kullu bima'nil kullu. It is all bad. He does not accept bid'ah hasana, nothing. No division, no types, no category. This is what he started his belief with. Eventually, his stance changed. After the last video, what happened? He come to this agreement that bid'ah is now bid'ah shari'i and bid'ah lughawi. So he's coming closer to the truth. Allah is opening his heart slowly. It's true. Look, a guy who was hell-bent on saying bid'ah is bad, bid'ah dalala. He's now saying bid'ah shari'i, bid'ah lughawi, because Ibn Kathir mentions. I'm sure he's seen it coming. He must have surely, he can't have just accepted it. He must have, either he was telling everyone, making everyone, fooling them, to accept that there's only bid'ah dalala, there's no such thing as a good innovation in the deen, or it was the case of, when the point comes, we'll deal with it then. Or he simply just didn't know what Ibn Kathir has written in this regard. Anyhow, when I presented the definition of Hafiz Ibn Kathir, he picked on this point and he said, Bid'ah Shar'i, Bid'ah Lughawi, linguistic innovation and innovation in the Sharia and the Deen. Yani here, that is opposite to the Sunnah. He mentioned this. And then he began to support his claim. His dawah is, Bid'ah Lughawi is only pertains to the dunya. Bid'ah Lughawi, linguistic innovation, pertains to the dunya, this world. It does not pertain to the deen. This is his stance. He says you can't have a bid'ah lughawi that has to do with the deen. This is not possible. Every aspect within the Sahaba, within after them, this is all bid'ah lughawi to do with the dunya, cars, he keeps mentioning cars on Facebook and internet. This is all a linguistic bid'ah, this is fine. This is all right in the dunya. In the deen you're not allowed this. You can't add into the deen. This is his mawqif and stance. This is his da'wah. This is his claim. This is his manhaj. This is his understanding. Is everyone with me? Is it clear to all of you? This is what he believes. First, bid'ah is bad. Now, bid'ah has two types. Lughawi and Shari. You can't add it to Sharia. We agree. We agree with that. You cannot add to bid'ah Shari. We agree with that, and we will accept it. That's not a problem. The ulema, the Ahlul Sunnah accepted this. Bid'ah Lughawi, this now, dunya and deen. We said this terminology of linguistic bid'ah can be applied to dunya and deen. He said no. His belief is it's only dunya, not deen. I want to begin by bringing forward Fathul Bari of Hafiz Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahmatullah alayhi. Hafiz Ibn Hajar is known as Shaykh al-Islam. The real Shaykh al-Islam. The true Shaykh al-Islam. You need to keep this point in mind. Hafiz Ibn Hajar rahmatullah alayhi, 8th, 9th century scholar. A scholar of great magnitude. A scholar that Imran ibn Mansur said the Ummah is indebted to. Who understands Bukhari better than Ibn Hajar? The commentator on Ibn Hajar, you know, when it suits him, he will take Ibn Hajar's opinion. When it doesn't suit him, he will leave him. This is injustice. You pick and choose what suits you and what doesn't suit you. I want to explain the understanding of bid'ah lughawi to yourselves and to him. What has the Ahlul Sunnah and the ulama understood from this? I have here, under the explanation of the words of Sayyidina Umar, ni'mal bid'atu hadihi or ni'matil bid'atu hadihi, these words that Sayyidina Umar used. What a good innovation this is. What a good innovation. What does Hafiz ibn Hajar understand from the words of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Amir al-Mu'mineen? He said, وَالْبِدْعَةُ أَسْلُهَا مَا أُلْبِسَ عَلَى غَيْرِ مِثَالٍ سَابِقٍ. Bid'ah lughawi, literally the word bid'ah, what does it mean? It means to introduce into, the asr of this is to introduce something which doesn't have any previous example of its like. To bring something that nothing before it has been like that or mentioned of that. That is what bid'ah lughawi means. The linguistic terminology of the word bid'ah, the word bid'ah. He then continues. He continues further and said, وَتُطْلَقُ فِي الشَّرْعِ فِي مُقَابِلِ السُنَّةِ فَتَكُونُ مَذْمُومَةً. This is very important to understand. If anyone does, this is his understanding of now bid'ah shar'i. Bid'ah shar'i, a innovation that opposes the sunnah. Hafiz ibn Hajar is telling us, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, that if you introduce a matter that is muqabil sunnah, that opposes the sunnah, that goes against what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did, kunu madhmumatan, that is bad. That is blameworthy. That is not acceptable. We agree. We agree what Hafiz ibn Hajar said, and to this point we agree with what Imran ibn Mansur said. That if you introduce something that opposes the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then that is rejected. It's no good. That is bad. We accept this. There's no dispute in this. And Hafiz ibn Hajar continued. He now explains bid'ah lughawi. Not the word, but this understanding of the term bid'ah lughawi. Bid'ah lughawiyya. What is his term? He said, وَالتَّحْقِيقُ أَنَّهَا إِنْ كَانَتْ مِمَّا تَنْدَرِجُ تَحْتَ مُسْتَحْسَنٍ فِي الشَّرْعِ فَهِيَ حَسَنَةٌ. These are the words of the great Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, who we are indebted to. The Ummah is indebted to. Who is known as Shaykh al-Islam. The one who's best understood and has agreed upon his commentary of the Sahih of Imam Bukhari. He said, explaining bid'ah lughawiyya, he said, and anything that is done, any innovation that comes under the category or the understanding of mustahsan, it comes under good understanding, it's perceived as good. في الشرع, inside the Sharia, he said, فَهِيَ حَسَنَةٌ. He said that is good. He said this is accepted. It is accepted that anything that is done under the understanding of good, that does not oppose the sunnah, it is perceived and understood by the sunnah as good. He then said, وَإِنْ كَانَتْ مِمَّا تَنْدَرِجُ تَحْتَ مُسْتَقْبَحٍ فِي الشَّرْعِ فَهِيَ مُسْتَقْبَحَةٌ. And if an innovation is introduced, a new matter is brought, and it falls under the category of not good, kabih, it is not good, it is bad, in terms of the Sharia, understanding of the Sharia, then فَهِيَ مُسْتَقْبَحَةٌ, that is rejected, that is bad. Ibn Hajar is explaining bid'ah lughawiyya by saying the understanding of bid'ah lughawiyya to do with the deen is what the Ahl Sunnah have understood. He has only explained half. His explanation and understanding is flawed, because he's not explained this. He's explained Hafiz ibn Hajar to what suits him, and then he said, I've taken all your scholars, they're on our side, I mentioned everything else, now you take them from me again. Break it down, understand what's being said, and it will be clear to you. وَإِلَّا, and if that's not the case, فَهِيَ مِنْ قِسْمِ الْمُبَاحِ. Ibn Hajar then said that if that's not the case, then it falls into the category of mubah. It falls into this category of permissibility, mubah. وَقَدْ تَنْقَسِمُ إِلَى الْأَحْكَامِ الْخَمْسَةِ. He then said, this now then is divided into 5 types. This is the understanding of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in relation to bid'ah shar'i and bid'ah lughawi. Let me recap his understanding. Bid'ah shari, anything that opposes the sunnah, outright rejected. You can't oppose the sunnah. We accept that. Hafiz ibn Hajar has said that. They've explained that. We agree, 110%. The debate and discussion now has moved on to bid'ah lughawiyya. Then can we have in bid'ah lughawiyya the understanding of fi deen, in the deen, for the deen, or dunya? He's saying only dunya. You can't bring the deen into this matter. You cannot bring the understanding of the deen into this matter. Sabazrad Rashid. So any innovation which opposes the sunnah, goes against the sunnah, it is bad. Full stop. But anything that is deemed good, it's good, it is bid'ah hasana, it comes under, and this is lughwiyya, this is the linguistic bid'ah which he uses. He says, Sayyidina Umar's example is a linguistic bid'ah to do with the dunya. We're going to come to that. The next scholar that I want to bring again to further clarify and explain his understanding of the concept of bid'ah is Sultanul Ulama, Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, the great Abdulaziz ibn Abdul Salam, a scholar of the 6th, 7th century. The great Sultanul Ulama, Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, he in his Al-Qawaid al-Kubra, he mentions and explains the types of bid'ah lughawiyya. And I want to break this down for yourselves. He said, al-bid'atu fi'lu ma lam yu'had fi asri Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Linguistic bid'ah's meaning is what? That thing which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it wasn't done in his time. This is who's saying it? Sultanul Ulama, one of the great scholars of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said, وَهِيَ مُنْقَسِمَةٌ إِلَى بِدْعَةٍ وَاجِبَةٍ. This bid'ah lughawiyya is divided into a bid'ah which is deemed wajib, وَبِدْعَةٍ مُحَرَّمَةٍ, a bid'ah which is haram, وَبِدْعَةٍ مَنْدُوبَةٍ, a bid'ah which is preferred, mandoob, mustahab, وَبِدْعَةٍ مَكْرُوهَةٍ, a disliked innovation, وَبِدْعَةٍ مُبَاحَةٍ, and a permissible innovation. Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, rahmatullah alayhi, he in his Al-Qawaid al-Kubra, I have with me here, he has clearly stated and mentioned that bid'ah is divided into categories. My brothers, on this point, sisters as well, when he has said and accused us of not understanding bid'ah, he's not only saying me, he is also accusing Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam. This is what the ulema have understood, this is what Ahlul Sunnah understood. So who is he opposing in reality? To the world, everyone thinks this is Imam Asim. The truth is he's opposing the Ahlul Sunnah. That's the truth. He's opposing the definition of the ulama of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is a key point everyone needs to bear in mind. Then, when he goes into the examples, you see, he further supported his claim. Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam supported his claim by giving examples of each type of innovation, the wajib innovation, the mustahab innovation, the mubah innovation, mandoob innovation. He's mentioned the types and examples for each type. Under وَلِلْبِدْعِ الْوَاجِبَةِ أَمْثِلَةً, there are examples for bid'ah wajibah. He said, mentioning them, al-ishtighalu bi'ilm al-nahw, studying the science of nahw, studying the science of Nahar. And for him, it's a present tense verb. For us, it's a command verb. Yani, according to Alayhi ibn Abdul Salam, it is a necessary innovation for Imran ibn Mansur to learn Nahar. According to Alayhi ibn Abdul Salam, according to his understanding, he has used understanding Nahar, studying the study of Nahar, so that you have true understanding of the ma'ani of the Quran, the language, etc. So you know what's what, what's a noun, what's a verb, past tense, present tense, command, know the huruf, which are jazima, etc. All of this that's been mentioned. Alayhi ibn Abdul Salam said, this was that innovation which is necessary. It is necessary for people to learn this now, especially the ulema, those who are in this field. And then he goes and continued. He said, الَّذِي يُفْحَمُ بِهِ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ وَكَلَامُ رَسُولِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَذَلِكَ وَاجِبٌ. To understand the word of Allah and the words of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it is wajib. That is wajib. You have to understand. To understand the words of Allah and His Rasul, the Quran and the Sunnah, you've got to have a grasp, a true in-depth grasp of Nahw. Who is saying this? Alayhi ibn Abdul Salam. He used this example under the examples of those innovations which are wajib. Remember, we are not talking about bid'ah shar'iyya. We are talking about bid'ah lughawiyya, linguistic bid'ah, the one that he has misunderstood. Then, continuing with that, he's under the bid'ah muharrama. Those innovations which are deemed and perceived haram, they are wrong. The examples he gave, Mazhabul Qadariyya, the emergence of the Qadariyya sect, the Jabariyya sect, the Murji'ah sect, and the Mujassima sect. The emergence of these sects who were deviated from the truth, opposed principles of the deen, usul al-deen. These individuals, about them, it is necessary for us to defend the Sunnah. And Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, he said this bid'ah is haram. This is an example of a haram innovation. The emergence of deviant sects is an example of haram innovation. He then said, وَلِلْبِدْعِ الْمَنْدُوبَةِ أَمْثِلَةً. And for the mustahab, preferred actions, innovations for them, there are examples. He said, إحداث مدارس. إحداث المدارس. When you are building madrasas. Why are madrasas built? So knowledge is imparted. People learn the deen, people study the deen, people learn what is right, people learn what is wrong. Madrasas in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was no madrasas, yani purpose-built madrasas. This all came after. Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, he categorizes this building of madrasas, he categorizes this under manduba. Sabazrat Rashid. Then he continued with the example of bid'ah, which is manduba. He said, Al-Kalamu fi Daqaiq al-Tasawwuf. Talking about the intricacies of Tasawwuf. Talking about these intricacies of Tasawwuf. The great Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, he categorized this under those innovations which are mandub, preferred, recommended. Intricacies of Tasawwuf like what? Being good, having good character, elaborating on that, different aspects of Tasawwuf, all of these matters. He then continued by talking about those bid'ahs which are makruha, that dislike innovations in the deen. the sounds too high on this. Not too high. Just right. He continued by mentioning in regards to this that changing the words of the Quran and al-Wad' al-Arabi, etc., mentioning these examples. Along with this, he mentioned other examples as well in regards to those innovations which are disliked innovations. And then he goes on to the Mubah and talking about them. Like this, he's mentioned examples for each category. For those bid'ahs which are perceived as haram, makruh, wajib, mandub, and mubah. The underlying factor of this is all the ulema of the Ahlul Sunnah ourselves, we've understood that introducing an innovation which opposes the Sunnah, outright rejected. That is kullu bid'atin dalalah. Those innovations which oppose the Quran and Sunnah, rejected. Then bid'ah lughawiyya, this next category which Imran accepted, he's admitted to. They have then further broken that down. Al-Izz bin Abdul Salam, he understood it to be broken down into 5 types. And that's what's been mentioned here. When we continue, we see, we'll go back to the great scholars of the Salaf, like Imam Ash-Shafi'ee, rahmatullahi ta'ala. Muhammed ibn Idris al-Shafi'ee, a man who memorized the Quran by the age of 7. He's a mujtahid mutlaq in this deen. He's a man whose ijtihad was an individual who understood the deen better than all of us. An authority within the deen. He, rahimahullah ta'ala, said, al-muhdathat min al-umuri darban. Introducing matters into the deen are of 2 types. ما أحدث يخالف كتابا أو سنة أو أثرا أو إجماعا فهذه البدعة دلالة. To introduce a matter which opposes the Quran and the Sunnah, athar, and consensus of ulama, ijma', consensus, فهذه البدعة دلالة. This bid'ah is misguided. This is bid'ah. Which bid'ah? Shar'iyyah. We accept this. We agree that to introduce a matter which opposes Quran and Sunnah and Ijma' Athar, we don't accept this. This was not the dispute. The dispute and discussion now is in relation to وَمَا أُحْدِثَ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ لَا خِلَافَ فِيهِ لِوَاحِدٍ مِنْ هَذَا فَهَذِهِ مُحْدَثَةٌ غَيْرُ مَذْمُومَةٍ. This is bid'ah lughawiyya. Imam Shafi'i's understanding of the linguistic innovation. That linguistic innovation that Imran has restricted to dunya only. He doesn't include deen in this. What did Imam Shafi'i say about his brothers, sisters? What we've heard what Hafiz ibn Hajar said. At the same time, we've heard what Al-Izz bin Abdul Salam said. What did Imam Shafi'i say? He said, وَمَا أُحْدِثَ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ. Whoever introduces from good, لَا خِلَافَ فِيهِ. There's no dispute in it. لِوَاحِدٍ مِنْ هَذَا. From one of those that I've mentioned, i.e. Kitab, Sunnah, Athar and Ijma'. It doesn't oppose this. He then said, فَهَذِهِ مُحْدَثَةٌ غَيْرُ مَذْمُومَةٍ. This is that innovation, that new matter, which is not blameworthy, which is not bad. Bid'ah, lughawiyya's understanding, according to who? The great Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'ee, rahmatullahi ta'ala. He then said, and he gave the example, this is the question. We're saying, Imran, your understanding is flawed in this matter. Imam Shafi'i rahmatullah has told us, the Imam of the Ahlul Sunnah told us. He said, قَدْ قَالَ عُمَرُ Sayyidina Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, fi qiyam Ramadan, in the standing of Ramadan, ni'matil bidatu hadihi. What a good innovation this is. يعني i.e. أنها محدثة لم تكن. This was something that was not done before. He said this wasn't done before. وإذا كانت فليس فيها رد لما بدأ. He said in relation to this, and if now that it's been established, this does not oppose anything that has passed. This does not oppose Kitab, Sunnah, Asrar, Ijma. You know when they are saying this, what is this? Dunya or Deen? Salat al-Tarawih, Dunya or Deen? Why is he categorizing everything as Deen? What Sayyidina Umar did, was it Deen or was it Dunya? It was the Deen, it wasn't Dunya. It's clear. What Salat al-Tarawih to do with the mobile? Mobiles Dunya, cars Dunya, t-shirts Dunya, these are Dunya. We accept that. But Salat al-Tarawih, Imran accepted. I'd accept and admit that it is Deen. Otherwise, you would then say yourself that this ibadah is to do with dunya. That's not possible. Bamboo. Anyhow, just before I continue, I will go back to Hafiz ibn Kathir and explain what he said and where Imran misunderstood. Just before that, a few more vehicles are blocking the way. ML61 XUN BMW, WH04 plate, HVH Audi, EA Sports, no, EA06, HFB Ford Mondeo, EJ04, HVH Audi. These are vehicles that are blocking the way. Some of them do sheep and Allah. We've looked at Imam Shafi'ee's understanding of Bid'ah Lughawiyya. We've looked at Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani's understanding of Bid'ah Lughawiyya, linguistic Bid'ah. We've looked at Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam's understanding of Bid'ah Lughawiyya. They have all understood that under the category of Bid'ah Lughawiyya, it includes matters of the deen as well as the dunya. Everyone understand this clearly? One of the verse, Badi'u Samawat wal-Ard, in Surah Al-Baqarah, he read this ibadah. Imran ibn Mansur, who said, and I'll say his words, the bare minimum is to have mastery of the Arabic language. To read the tafasir and understand the deen, the bare minimum is mastery. Minimum, mastery. What's maximum? The bare minimum is mastery. That rules me and him out. That rules scholars of today's day and age. Illa masha'Allah. They are no longer in that. كما جاء في صحيح مسلم فإن كل محدثة بدعة. He said فإن كل. He said إن حرف شبه بالفعل is حرف شبه. And in comes on it, فعل. It doesn't come on an ism. We learned that in the huruf al-shar. Anyhow, that moment has passed. فَإِنَّ كُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٌ. Indeed, every new matter is an innovation. Then he said, who is this? Hafiz Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir is saying this. وَالْبِدْعَةُ عَلَى قِسْمَيْنِ. Bid'ah is of two types. Bid'ah is of two types. Bid'ah is of two types. Ibn Kathir said bid'ah is of two types. Imran ibn Mansur said, Ibn Mansur said, there's no types of bid'ah. All bid'ah are bad. If all bid'ah is bad, then your understanding of bid'ah, this is bid'ah.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
That would mean your understanding is bad. But we don't take our deen from jahils. We take our deen from alims. We have taken our deen from the tradition of the great ulema of the Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is what differentiates us, the people of Haqq, from the people of the real bid'ah. This terminology and understanding of his bid'ah, this is the real bid'ah. This is what the true innovation is. This is misconstruing the words of the ulama, Ahlul Sunnah. It's wrong.
Okay.
What did Ibn Kathir then mention? Kathir. He said, تارة تكون بدعة شرعية. Sometimes it is bid'ah shar'iyya, establishing division, types. Bid'ah shar'iyya. And he explained this كقوله فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. Imam Hafiz Ibn Kathir, a 7th, 8th century scholar who is elevated by the Salafi manhaj, who the Salafi manhaj accept unanimously and agree upon it. He is explaining what bid'ah shar'i is. Shar'iyya, the same understanding Ibn Kathir had, is the same understanding that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah have. That understanding is what? Inna kulla muhdathatin bid'atun. Bid'ah shar'iyya is every new matter. This is an innovation, and every innovation is in the hellfire. This is the understanding of shar'iyya. I.e., if you do anything that opposes the Sunnah, the Quran, Ijma', this is rejected bid'ah. This is mardud. This is rejected, madmuma. It's bad. Kullu bid'atin dalala. This is what the Prophet ﷺ meant. This is what they have told us. وكما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. وتارة تكون بدعة لغوية. This is where he took this point and then tried to explain this point. He said sometimes it is a bid'ah lughawiyya. The debate and discussion is on this here and now. And then the example that Ibn Kathir has cited as a bid'ah lughawiyya, Imran ibn Mansur didn't even understand that. He said bid'ah lughawiyya is only dunya. You know, Ibn Kathir didn't say mobile phones here, even though they didn't exist then. But you know my point. A new matter that was in his time, he didn't quote that example. If that's what Ibn Kathir understood, that bid'ah lughawiyya has to do with the dunya, then he would have mentioned an example of the dunya. But he's telling Imran ibn Mansur and the Salafi manhaj that my understanding and the true understanding of the Ahlul Sunnah is what? The true understanding of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah is what? Bid'ah lughawiyya is to do with the deen as well. This is a category within that. This is an understanding within that. He then said, كقول أمير المؤمنين عمر بن الخطاب عن جمعه إياهم على صلاة التراويح واستمراره. نعمة البدعة هذه. Ibn Kathir then said, sometimes it is a linguistic innovation, like the saying of the leader of the believers, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and jam'ihi iyahum, when he congregated the Mu'mineen and Muslimin together for Salat al-Tarawih, behind one Imam, wastimrarihim, and that continuity, that continued. He then said, Ni'matil bid'atu hadhihi. Sayyidina Umar said, what a good innovation this is. Ibn Kathir cited this as an example of linguistic innovation. My question is, the example he's citing, is this example to do with dunya or deen? Salatul Tarawih to do with dunya or deen? Answer me. It's to do with the deen, isn't it? If it's to do with the deen, why have you said and told the entire world that it's not? That deen has no place in Bilalubiyah. Innovating in the deen is completely bad. But Ibn Kathir has understood it otherwise. He has cited an example of Salatul Tarawih as what? As a bid'ah lughawiyah in the deen, relating to the deen. So why are you telling the whole world otherwise? Why are you explaining, misunderstanding what Ibn Kathir has said here? Now, after explaining what bid'ah lughawiyah actually is, has everyone understood clearly? Can you innovate in bid'ah shar'iyah? Yes or no? You can't. Why? Because it opposes the sunnah. Can you, is bid'ah lughawiyah a type? Yes, we've established it. Within bid'ah lughawiyah, is it only restricted to the dunya? No, it includes the deen. We've understood that. This is the understanding of who? The ulema of the Ahlul Sunnah. The scholars of the Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And is everyone up to date with what I'm saying? I can do it in Qur'ani if you want, but I won't.
Narai Takbir, Narai Risalat, Narai
Risalat. Where's Risalat? Oh yeah, hello. From outside you're doing another. Allahu Akbar. After understanding this bid'ah, lughawiyah is dunya and deen, not just dunya. It's not restricted. It's not hasad to just dunya. After understanding it is dunya and deen, let me now bring forward to you examples where the Sahaba innovated in the deen, not dunya. Examples where the Sahaba innovated in the deen. Another car which is blocking the way. You should close the gates actually, unless they're open. GF11 WVT. It's a BMW. Please could you move your car? It is obstructing the way. The example I bring to you, where the Sahaba innovated, not against the Sunnah, which is termed and deemed as bid'ah lughawiyah, and this is bid'ah which is in the deen. I bring you the example of Ghamghol Quran.
Subhanallah.
When the Quran was being gathered together, this is mentioned in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. I'll give you mafhoom. I'll give you a mafhoom understanding of this hadith. In my own words, mafhoom of what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said. We know that during the caliphate of Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in the battle of Yamama, hundreds of Sahaba that were Huffaz, they memorized the Quran, were martyred. They were martyred in this battle, and Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu went to Khalifa Awal Bila Fasl, the first Khalifa, Khalifa of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and said to do jam' of the Quran. To this, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, كيف أفعل شيئا لم يفعله رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم? How can I do something which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't do? Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq is saying, how can I do something which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't do? In the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, revelation was sent, and the Katibe Wahi, those who were writing down revelation, they would write it on bones and on skin of animals, and they would write it on leaves of trees, and it was all scattered. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, but it wasn't gathered together collectively all in one place. This happened in Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq's time. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they did this. When they did this, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, Wallahi, huwa wallahi khayr. It is by Allah good. Yani it is good that we bring all the verses of the Quran that are scattered, we bring it together in one place. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq said, I'm not going to do what the Prophet ﷺ didn't do. Sayyidina Umar said, bring it all together. When Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala said this, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq accepted that Sayyidina Umar was right. Let's now look at Fathul Bari, and it commentates and explains this hadith that is in Bukhari Sharif. Ibn Hajar said, وَقَدْ فَهِمَ عُمَرُ أَنَّ تَرْكَ النَّبِيِّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم جمعه لا دلالة فيه على المنع. He said, look at the words, be careful. ورجع إليه أبو بكر لما رأى وجه الإصابة في ذلك. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu وَقَدْ فَهِمَ عُمَرُ. You talk about the understanding of the Sahaba, and then you said that I make it up myself. Faham means understanding. Sayyidina Umar understood that the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam left, is that in jama'ahu. Jam'ahu. They left it. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu left, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left, bringing the Quran together. Sayyidina Umar understood this. لا دلالة فيه على المن. This is key. This nukta of Sayyidina Umar is a key point which refutes the Salafi manhaj. Subhanallah. The key. Look at the words Ibn Hajar used. He said, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu understood that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left. What did they leave? Bringing the Quran together, the jam' of the Quran. But لا دلالة فيه على المنع. There was no dalalat that this jump being done is not allowed. There's nothing that proved you can't gather the Quran together. There was nothing that said you can't do that. That's a key point. Because his understanding is leave what the Prophet left. What the Prophet left, Sayyidina Umar said, I know the Prophet left. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu's understanding, Ibn Hajar said, Sayyidina Umar understood. They understood clearly that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left this. But they also understood there was nothing prohibiting this amal, this action from happening. So you're saying, wherever the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam leaves, you leave. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam left, gathering the Quran together. Why didn't the Sahaba leave it? That goes against your understanding. Why didn't the Sahaba leave it? Why? Because they understood the deen better than me and you. And we understand our deen from them. What I'm saying is from them. It's not from me. It is from them. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, understanding, Ibn Hajar said, لا دلالة فيه على المنع. ورجع إليه أبو بكر لما رأى وجه الإثابة في ذلك. It's amazing, isn't it? That Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu returned to this, he went back to this, and he seen the reason for why. The reason for doing this was clear. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu understood this reasoning of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Continued, he said, وَأَنَّهُ لَيْسَ فِي الْمَنْقُولِ وَلَا فِي الْمَعْقُولِ مَا يُنَافِيهِ. Ibn Hajar said, there was nothing naqlan manqul that was transmitted from Allah and Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, wal ma'qul, and nor intellectually in their understanding, which did nafi of this, which said you can't do this, you can't do what the Prophet did not do. There was nothing. Who understood the deen better? Wow. Me, you, Imran bin Mansur, Albani, who understood? The ulema, the Sunnah understood. This is Ibn Hajar's understanding. My brother, if after today you say that my understanding was wrong, Allah, you are saying Ibn Hajar's understanding is wrong. This is not my understanding. This is the understanding of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is what the Ahlul Sunnah have understood. The same Ibn Hajar, you say, Allahu Akbar, there is no one like him. The Ummah is indebted to him. He is Shaykh al-Islam. He understood Bukhari better. If he understood Bukhari better than me and you, why don't you accept his understanding? He said it clearly here. Ibn Hajar is clearly stating this. And then he said, there's nothing in manqul, wala fil ma'qul. Nothing in the text, nor intellectually, ma yunafi. That opposes, that did nafi of this, that went against this. And then he said, ثم تابعهما زيد بن ثابت وسائر الصحابة على تصويب ذلك. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they both understood this. You know what Ibn Hajar said? All the Sahaba also understood this. They understood. Though the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left, though they left what? Left not gathering the Quran together. They did not stop this. They didn't leave this dunya saying, make sure you don't do this. You can't do this. Sahaba understood that what the Prophet ﷺ left is not a belief, that is haram. They understood. Doesn't do dalalat upon hurma or man. What the Prophet ﷺ told us not to do, that is a dalil. That is dalalat upon man'i wal hurma. That is a dalalat upon you should leave it. You can't do it. What they told us not to do. Did the Prophet ﷺ compile the Quran? Did they gather the Quran together? No. Sahaba understood that. Sahaba did this why? Why did they do it? Because it was a need. Is this matter in dunya or deen? This is not the clear point. He is saying bid'ah lughwiyya is in dunya. The Sahaba are doing something which the Prophet ﷺ didn't do. So it's a bid'ah. With this bid'ah which is lughwiyya, is it in deen or dunya? This example, is it a dunyavi example or a deeni example? So, does that not refute his entire understanding? Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Amazing, isn't it? And when you actually go into it, you truly understand. When you resort to tablets, laptops, and you resort to the internet for your deen, then you will always be flawed in your understanding. When you sit with ulema and scholars at their feet, and they do justice to the knowledge that Allah has given them, that they don't do kitmanul ilm, then you truly understand the deen. This point here clearly tells us about an example which is bid'ah lughawiyya in deen. Ibn Hajar, rahmatullahi ta'ala, explained this. The next example, Salatul Tarawih. I looked at this in great detail in my previous talk. Ni'matul bid'atu hadi. During the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, congregation was not done behind one imam. There were pockets of Jamaat in Masjid al-Nabawi. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam led the companions for 1, 2, 3 nights, and then they left. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam left, this congregation as an action that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why did they leave? Out of fear it would become obligatory on the ummah. Out of fear that it would become necessary. You have to leave every Salatul Tarawih. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, during his life, his caliphate, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, let's bring them all together behind one imam. He did this jump in Salatul Tarawih, and he was looking and said, Ni'matul bid'atu hadihi. What a good innovation this is. What a good innovation. The Prophet ﷺ didn't do this. Sayyidina Umar is doing this. So therefore it is bid'ah lughawiyya. Does it oppose the sunnah? No. There's an asr for it. There's an asr for it. There's an origin within the sunnah, so it doesn't oppose. But it still is something new. Therefore it is placed under the category of bid'ah lughawiyya. Question now, what is it? Is it dunya or deen? Salatul Tarawih to do with dunya? Or is Salatul Tarawih to do with ibadah and deen? Why are you telling the whole world? Why is the Salafi manhaj saying that bid'ah lughawiyya is only to do with dunya, nothing to do with deen? The example the ulema state, to do with the deen, not the dunya. Maybe Ibn Baz and Fawzan and all of the Salafi scholars of today, they look at telephones and Facebook and all that. Look, Heath didn't say this. Ibn Hajar didn't say this. My brother, we don't take our deen from Albani. We take our deen from the great Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani.
Just Milad al-Mustafa.
This is an example of bid'ah lughawiyya in the deen. Next point. We see in the Kitab al-Tabaqat Kabir, in Tabaqat al-Musa. Kitab al-Tabaqat al-Kabir, Ibn Sa'd mentions, and again mafhooman, I will explain, that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu during his caliphate would begin to give Sahaba a wage for the duty and the job that they were doing. From the Baytul Mal, the treasury of the Muslims. This was something that Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq did not do, nor did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam do, to give a wage to some Sahaba. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu then consulted the Sahaba whether he can take a wage from Baytul Mal as well. And it was permitted, the understanding was there. Sayyidina Umar was the first Khalifa to take a wage from Baytul Mal. When they took this wage from Baytul Mal, remember this is something new. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq didn't do this, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam didn't do this. So it's a bid'ah. It is a new matter. Does it have asl? Yes. So it's not bid'ah shar'iyya which goes against the Quran and Sunnah. It is bid'ah lughawiyya, linguistic bid'ah. Next question. What category does it fall into? Is it dunya or deen? He's running the affairs of the Muslims. This is the caliphate. It's to do with the deen. The righteous caliphate. The Khulafa al-Rashideen. He's from amongst them. Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. he is mentioning this. My question is that Sayyidina Umar takes away bid'ah. Sayyidina Umar congregates Salatul Tarawih and Jama'ah, it's a bid'ah. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq ordered for all the verses of the Quran to be put together. This is a bid'ah. Are they opposing the Sunnah? No. There's asr of this in the Sunnah. There is origins of this within the book and the tradition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it's still something new. It's still something new. So it's not bid'ah shar'iyya, it's bid'ah lughwiyya. He said bid'ah lughwiyya is only dunya. These are examples where bid'ah lughwiyya is also in. Next example. And he cited this example as well. It's mentioned in Al-Kitab al-Musannaf of Imam Ibn Abi Shayba. Zuhri mentioned, he said, أول من أحدث الأذان الأول عثمان. The first one to introduce the first azan on the day of Jum'ah was Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu anhu. Which azan? Is it the one that Imam does in front of the minbar, or the one at the beginning of the time? The one that's at the beginning of the time. That Salatul Jum'ah's time was entered. The first to do this was who? Sayyidina Uthman. Prophet ﷺ never did this. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq never did this. Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Umar Farooq never did this. Sayyidina Uthman did it. Why? Sayyidina Uthman did this because congregation was growing, people were working in the towns, they need to know it's Jumu'ah time, it's time to close your shops and come to the masjid and perform Salatul Jumu'ah. It was to let them know. Yani it was a darura, it was a need of that time. This is probably the argument that we made. It was a need of that time. Why do it today then? Everyone knows, they've got on WhatsApp, they've got apps which tell you that it's Jummah time. People know by default, it's time for Jummah at 1:30, we do it at Jummah time. So why? Why is it that for them it's a darura there? They say it was a need, it was needed to be done. Is it a need today? But it's an amal that we all do. Hazrat Usman performed an action which Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Umar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma did not do. Hazrat Usman did this. This is mentioned again in the Al-Musannaf of Imam Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shayba, he mentioned this in there. The first adhan on the day of Jum'ah is a bid'ah. Is a bid'ah shar'iyya? No. Does it oppose the sunnah? No. Is it bid'ah lughwiyya? Yes. Is it of the dunya? No. Is it to do with the deen? Yes. So, why are you telling the whole world? I ask you again, that bid'ah lughwiyya is only dunya. It's only to do with Facebook and Twitter. It's to do with YouTube and to do with the cars and tow and all of this. It's got nothing to do with that. That's one aspect. These are examples in the deen, innovations the Sahaba did. They introduced new matters which had origins within the Sharia, within the Quran and Sunnah, that they did, which it continues further. We see that Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar in Fathul Bari will come back to this, because he likes to say Ibn Hajar, we are indebted to him. He likes to say Ibn Hajar is Shaykh al-Islam. Ibn Hajar, no doubt, but he only knows Ibn Hajar as far as the Ra in Ibn Hajar. Yaqeen. Because if he truly knew what Hafiz ibn Hajar mentioned, then he would open the book and actually read it. Understand what the great Hafiz ibn Hajar said. Ibn Hajar mentions, سمعت عليا يقول, he mentioned the chain, the sanad, Hassan. The narrator said, I heard Sayyidina Ali, أعظم الناس في المصاحف أجرا أبو بكر رحمة الله على أبي بكر وأول من جمع كتاب الله. Sayyidina Ali's understanding of the deen. Bir Salam said, أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها.
Subhanallah.
I am the city of knowledge. Ali is the door to that city. That Sayyidina Ali, who was a master of the Quran, understood the deen. There's no shak or shubha or doubt. And Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala said, أعظم الناس في المصاحف أجرا, who will get the most reward in relation to the mushaf, in relation to the gathering of the verses of the Quran together. He says, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. You know the Rafizis who tried to say Sayyidina Ali didn't like Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Sayyidina Ali is praising Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Ajib, isn't it? You're trying to create this mindset in the mind of people that Ahlul Bayt were against the companions or vice versa. When you're against someone, you don't talk about that. You don't talk about them in good. You only talk bad about them. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu saying that the one who will be rewarded the most in relation to the mushaf, in relation to bringing them all together, he said Abu Bakr Siddiq. Then he said, Rahmatullahi ala Abi Bakr.
Subhanallah. MashaAllah.
Rahmatullahi ala Abi Bakr. The word of Sayyidina Ali, Allah have mercy. The mercy of Allah be upon Sayyidina Abu Bakr. The mercy of Allah be upon Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Radiyallahu ta'ala anhu ajma'in. The great companions, may Allah be pleased with them all. Then he said, Huwa awwalu man jama'a kitab Allah. He's the first who gathered together verses of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Ali acknowledged the first to do this innovation of gathering the verses together. Sayyidina Ali acknowledged. People say, Ali, your understanding, no, not to do with the dunya, the deen, no deen, dunya only. No, you made a mistake. It is not this. You made a grave error and mistake. You not understood the concept of innovation. Sayyidina Ali is explaining to us their understanding in this regard. My brothers, I mentioned the Khulafai Rashideen. If you haven't noticed, this is the understanding of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, the first Khalifa Bilafas, Afdalul Bashar Ba'd al-Anbiya, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, and Sayyidina Ali. May Allah be pleased with them all. And we see next. I don't know to read out what Yaseen just said to me. Do you want to know? He said, Mullah's coming in 5 minutes to take over the show. You didn't get it, forget it. Then Shaykh Asrar is coming in 5 minutes to take over the show. I know it was Mullah as well, a lot of other people do. But anyhow, Khulafai Rashideen did something and understood the concept of bid'ah. The next point, you might argue, this is the sunnah of the Khulafai Rashideen, it is something new. This is not Dalil Imam Sahib. Their sunnah is the sunnah of the Prophet alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnati al-Khulafai Rashideen. You know, in the masjid, we have at the front of the masjid something called mihrab. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was no mihrab. In Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman and Ali's time, there was no mihrab. Mihrab has nothing to do with dunya. Mihrab has something to do with the deen, the imam. The imam stands there and leads the prayer. Who was the first to introduce the building of a mihrab in the vicinity of a masjid? This is a bid'ah. They should stop building mihrabs in the masajid. It's an innovation. And don't even justify it by saying it's the dunya. What is the masjid built for the dunya or the deen? Is there a community center or a house of Allah? You have to accept it's the deen. I have in front of me Wafa al-Wafa of Allama Nuruddin Ali ibn Ahmad al-Samhudi. Allama Samhudi mentioned that أول من أحدث المحراب Umar bin Abdul Aziz. The first to introduce the mihrab in the masjid was the Khalifa Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi ta'ala. He was the first. There was no mihrab in their time. This is another example. After the time of who? After the time of the Khulafai Rashideen, of an innovation in the deen, with al-Ughwiyya in the deen, that we all participate in, we all accept. You know, another example, Hajjaj bin Yusuf comes to mind. He was a zalim oppressor. He used to oppress his people. He did one good thing. He put Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra on what? On the Quran. This is mentioned in the books. We can give reference to this as well. This wasn't in the time of the Khulafai Rashideen. They were masters of Arabic. This wasn't in their time. Either read the Quran without Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, or accept that Bid'ah Lughawiyya, something which the Sahaba didn't do, the Prophet ﷺ didn't do, therefore Bid'ah. It doesn't oppose the Quran or Sunnah because it's a darura, it's a need. Except that Bid'ah Lughawiyya's understanding includes in the deen as well. Or stop reading the Quran with Zabr said Pesh. Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi, who was this great Imam? Great Imam Bukhari, the whole world. His name Yaseen is such that over 1,000 years have passed, over 1,000 years have passed, and we still say Imam Bukhari, Imam Bukhari, Imam Bukhari. True legacy of the great Imam. Imam Bukhari, he said, Qala al-Bukhari, this is Fathul Bari again. Ibn Hajar, you know, he said Bukhari has a muqaddimah. Maybe when he was reading Fathul Bari, he read muqaddimah here. And mistaken for Bukhari. But you know what? I'll forgive him. You know why? It can be a slip of the tongue. قال البخاري ما كتبت في كتاب الصحيح حديثا إلا اتصلت قبل ذلك وصليت ركعتين. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he said, and Ibn Hajar mentioned this in the Muqaddimah. But Bukhari himself said, لا كتبت في كتاب الصحيح. I did not write in the book, in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari, hadithan, a narration, hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, إلا اتصلت, except I did ghusl قبل ذلك, before. وصليت ركعتين, and I performed 2 units of prayer. My brothers and sisters, where in the hadith will you find this point, that when narrating hadith, etc., you perform 2 units of prayer before? It was something new that Imam Bukhari did. We have to accept it is something new, an example of innovation. But the asr of this is found. The origin of this is found within the Sharia, within Kitab and Sunnah. When we accept the origin is found, this is now not bid'ah shar'iyya. This doesn't oppose the Sunnah, the Kitab, the Book of Allah. Therefore it's bid'ah lughwiyya, linguistic bid'ah. Question now is Imam Bukhari writing a novel? Or is Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi writing, compiling a book on the sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? It's a book of hadith. Hadith is to do with the deen. So is this bid'ah lughawiyya, dunyavi or deeniyya? It's deen, isn't it? It's to do with the deen. Why are you telling the whole world, I ask again, that bid'ah lughawiyya is only dunya? When the Khulafa Rashideen, their examples are clear for us to see. And Umar bin Abdulaziz, and the Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra on the Quran, Imam Bukhari, and I could bring you countless number of more examples where those things were done which weren't done by the Prophet ﷺ. I've got another list. Mullah Sajjad here, I mentioned it, and I'm glad that they've come as well. So prepare a seat for them. And Yaseen is here to calm Shaykh Asrar down. That's what he's wrong.
I don't need no calming. I'm very calm.
Anyhow, we see that Imam Bukhari did something, Umar bin Abdulaziz did something, Sayyidina Ali understood this, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, all of these Sahaba, they've all understood what? What have they understood? That bid'ah lughawiyya can have an understanding and category within the deen. An understanding which the Salafi manhaj and Imran ibn Mansur have not understood. These are all bid'ah lughawiyya that are good. They don't oppose the Quran and Sunnah. And these are bid'ah lughawiyya which are to do with the deen. So where he has explained to the masses, bid'ah lughawiyya has nothing to do with the deen. It's only dunya, dunya, dunya. This is a wrong explanation and understanding that he's telling people. This is against what the Sahaba, this is against what Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah have understood and explained. Which brings me now on to Mawlid al-Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let me ask this question. What is it that we do in a Mawlid gathering that is haram? What is it that we do? What is it that we are doing in this gathering now that's haram? Do tilawat haram, ba'adallah? No. Praising the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam haram? No. Sunnah of the Sahaba. Talking about the blessed seerah, is this haram? No. You have to accept all these matters that we are doing individually or in their own individual merit are permitted and within the Sunnah. Congregating for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not haram. When it comes to the matter of reading Naat, Tilawat, Seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, being happy for Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam's blessed Mawlid, these are not haram. This is not against the Sunnah of the book. These are all individually, on their own individual merit, based on Quran and Sunnah. They have undoubted asal, origin within the teachings of Islam, within the teachings and scope of Sharia. When you understood this, they said, why do you specify the 12th of Rabiul Awwal? Why do you specify the 12th of Rabiul Awwal as the day of Mawlid? This specification wasn't done. You can't specify. There's nothing that says you can specify, etc. This is one of his biggest arguments and the biggest arguments from the Salafis. Now why do you specify the 12th? Let me make this clear to start with. Before I prove that Jawazu Takhsis Ba'd al-Ayyam, specifying certain days is permitted within the Sharia, before I prove that we do not specify only the 12th of Rabiul Awwal to celebrate the birth of the Prophet. We don't do it. Is today the 12th of Rabiul Awwal? What are we doing regarding the Mawlid? Of course we're regarding the Mawlid. What is it the 12th of Rabiul Awwal? Have we specified? Is it specific? Do we only do it on the 12th and forget everything else? No. This is a fallacy, this is a lie against Ahlul Sunnah. This is wrong. You're spreading lies about us. You're trying to fool the people to say, oh, one day, one day. No. It is not one day. Delusion. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. We don't specify one day alone. We do it all year round. We celebrate and commemorate and remember the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam all year round. Not specific to one day. This is not specific to one day. We have to keep this point in mind. We have to keep this point in mind. When people say you do it one day, say no, we don't. We don't just do it on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. This is wrong. This is against us. However, specifying a day, is this a bid'ah shar'iyyah? It's an innovation. Specifying a day. Is it bid'ah shar'iyyah? Does it oppose the Quran and Sunnah? No. It does not oppose the Quran and Sunnah if we did specify a day. It does not. Then the next question is, if it's not bid'ah shar'iyyah, does it oppose Quran and Sunnah? Not misguided. Is it a bid'ah ruwiyyah? Yes. It is a bid'ah ruwiyyah. It is an innovation linguistically. We continue then and we present our proof of how it is within the deen and it doesn't contradict the Quran and Sunnah. I have before you Al-Minhaj, the Sharh of Sahih Muslim ibn Hajjaj of Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. He mentions in here أن ابن عمر كان يأتي قباء كل سبت وكان يقول رأيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يأتيه كل سبت. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he used to go to Masjid Quba every Saturday. And he specified every Saturday. And after saying this, وَكَانَ يَقُولُ Zimadi istimrari, and in the past continuity. The Prophet ﷺ used to do this every Saturday. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam specified Saturday a day. Every Saturday they would go to Masjid Quba. This is the hadith that we present. What did Imam Nawawi understand from this? Imam Nawawi said, فيه جواز تخصيص بعض الأيام بالزيارة وهذا هو الصواب وقول الجمهور. See Imam Nawawi's understanding. He said, every Saturday, in this is permissibility of specifying some days for ziyarah, for visiting. وهذا هو الصواب. This is what is rewarded. وقول الجمهور. And this is the opinion of the majority. Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi understood that to do takhsisu ba'd al-ayyam, to specify a specific day is permissible. Imam Nawawi's understanding it. Okay? Yani this is correct. Hada wa sawab, this is correct. Yani this is what Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi ta'ala is mentioning. I'd like them to oppose this. If you oppose this, that it's permissible to specify a specific day, then you are opposing the Jamhur and you are opposing Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi. My brothers, beware from those who pick and choose their deen. Beware from those who, when it suits them, they say there's no one like Imam Nawawi. Ibn Hajar, the Ummah is indebted to when it suits them. And when it doesn't, they discard them. They said, Bid'ah, Mawlid is a bid'ah. They all agreed it's impermissible, but they permitted it. 1 minute they're saying it's a they're saying they're great, then you're saying, but they did wrong. They were wrong in doing this. So you're passing a judgment on the great scholars of the past. You're passing a judgment on their understanding, who spend their lives studying this deen. This is something, the point to bear in mind. We see then the very same hadith, Fathul Bari, Ibn Hajar understood, and Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahmatullah explained, وفي هذا الحديث على اختلاف طرقه دلالة على جواز التخصيص بعد الأيام ببعض الأعمال الصالحة المداومة على ذلك. You know, Ibn Hajar explaining this, he said in this hadith there is ikhtilaf, there is difference of opinion on its turuq, on its chains. Dalalatun, this does dalalat upon what? Dalalat upon jawaz of takhsis ba'd al-ayyam bi ba'd al-a'mal as-salihah. It is permissible, it is permitted to specify certain days with certain a'mal as-salihah. You need to do good deeds on certain days. This is permitted within the Sharia. We are proving the jawaz of this, to specify a day. According to Ibn Hajar's understanding, Imam Nawawi and other ulema, their understanding is, and Ibn Hajar said, and to do dawam upon this, continuity upon this is permitted. So when they say, you specify a day, no we don't. If a day is specified, then according to the ulama, the proof will be presented, it's permissible. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, he used to say, I'll make that clear before it's picked up. It's good, Shaykh Asrar is here for that reason. It's good. I have never opposed that. Some people just don't do it, some people they do, which is good. It then continues, Rafiq is playing. Your microphone. Come sire. Drushi pariye. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وصحبك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. Then we see that it continues further. This was something that the Prophet ﷺ do every Saturday. Sayyid Abdullah bin Umar continued. Then every Thursday, كان عبد الله مما يذكر كل يوم الخميس. That he used to every Thursday remind people. He used to do a gathering where he used to remind them. Tazkirah, reminders he used to give to the people every Thursday. Yani Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu is specifying a day to remind people. Why? They've understood the deen better than me and you, which proves that their understanding of the deen has allowed them, told them, and it tells us, the Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that it is permissible to specify a day for good actions. And if we did specify a day, or do specify a day, to celebrate the Mawlid on the 12th for a good action, which is to honor and respect the Prophet ﷺ, this is permissible. But to answer your objection, we do it every day, not just one. So this is what we do. My question now to them is, when you said to us, how do you specify a day, why do you specify a day? Tell me, why is it that you specify a day? The Saudi government specifies 2 days in a year where they wash the Kaaba. Twice a year. They specify in Muharram and Sha'ban to wash the Kaaba. Which hadith are you following? Where did you get the permissibility to specify? If you say it's permissible and that's your understanding, then it's jaiz bidal and it's to do with this, yani it's permissible, etc. And the same understanding you have, we'll use the same understanding for the Mawlid as well. Either outright say what the Saudis are doing, washing the Kaaba twice a year on specific days, is haram. Outright say this. Why do you speak out against them and tell them, why do you specify 2 days in the year to wash the Kaaba? Specify. Why do you say it's haram? And on top of that, they change the khilaf of the Kaaba on a specific day every year, either on the 8th or the 9th of Hajj. They specify a day to change the khilaf of the Kaaba. Why? Where did they get the dalil, the permissibility to specify a day? What answer they will give, understanding they have, my brothers, the same understanding for our Mawlid issue as well. They have a national day. The Saudi Arabian government, it's a Islamic country founded on Islamic principles. Every 23rd of September, they have a national day, a national holiday. Why? To celebrate the independence, the making, they permit this, they say dunya. They'll argue all these points. But they specify a day. My argument is, why do you do it on a specific day? They say, this is the reasoning. The same reasoning you have to specify a day is the same reasoning that we would then say, your understanding you made it permissible. When we say that the Mawlid of Rasulullah on a specific day, if it's done, is also permissible. They now then object and say, you've introduced another Eid into Islam. Another big argument they have. Imran ibn Mansur said, there are only 3 Eids in Islam. Why do we bring a 4th one? Proof from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that there are only 3. My question to him is, prove, provide evidence where there are only 3. He said only 3, only 3, 3. He did this with his fingers as well. There's only 3. Provide evidence. Why have you done Hasr? Why have you made it restricted to just 3? I will bring evidence to you that Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam, there was more than 3. The understanding of this hadith, he has restricted it. The point, key point here, don't take this out of context, is he restricted it to 3. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said, يوم عرفة ويوم النحر وأيام تشريك عيدنا أهل الإسلام. The day of Arafah, the day of Arafah, the day of Nahr, the days of Tashriq, Eiduna. These are our days of Eid, Ahl al-Islam, for the people of Islam. Look, it's clear, isn't it? He said, Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and the day of Jum'ah. He said this. But Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, Yawm Arafah. The day of Arafat is Eid as well. The day of Arafah is the day of Eid. Why are you saying there's only 3 when there's more than 3 mentioned? He said, you give your own understanding of the deen. You have not understood the deen properly. You say mine. My understanding of the deen, our understanding of the deen, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah's understanding of the deen is the understanding that the Prophet ﷺ taught us. He's restricted it. But this is proof there's no restriction. There is, you can't, he's restricted it to this. But the Prophet ﷺ said, these are days of Eid. It continues further. In Sunan al-Nasa'i, the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, they mentioned أنس بن مالك رضي الله تعالى عنه قال كان لأهل الجاهلية يومان في كل سنة يلعبون فيهما فلما قدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المدينة قال كان لكم يومان تلعبون فيهما وقد أبدلكم الله بهما خير منهما يوم الفطر ويوم الأضحى. The Prophet ﷺ said that for the people of Jahiliyyah, Sayyidina Anas bin Malik said that the people of Jahiliyyah used to have 2 days in a year. They used to play on those days. They were like sports days. فَلَمَّا قَدِمَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الْمَدِينَةَ when the Prophet ﷺ came to the city of Medina Munawwara, Nabi ﷺ said, كَانَ لَكُمْ يُؤْمَانِ For you there are 2 days. تَلْعَبُونَ فِيهِمَا You play in those 2 days. وَقَدْ عَبْدَلَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِهِمَا خَيْرًا مِنْهُمَا Allah Almighty has replaced those 2 days with 2 that are better. 2 days that are better. يعني خَيْرًا مِنْهُمَا better than those 2. يوم الفطر and Eid al-Fitr. And يوم الأضحى. The day of Fitr and the day of Adha. Those 2. Then you have the Friday hadith that he mentioned. And you have the day of Arafah. That's 4. Why did he do Hasr? The Ayyam al-Tashriq. Why did he do Hasr? When you analyze that Eid al-Fitr comes once in a year, Eid al-Adha once in a year, no, Arafah once in a year, Jummah, how many Jummahs in a year? 52. Add the 3, 55. Add the 4, 56. It's a 56 Eid days in a year for us. When you actually go into intricacy, 56 days. Why have you restricted? My question is this. Why have you done hasr of this? Why? Why are you fooling people? Why are you telling people something which is not there? And then you are restricting what the Prophet ﷺ did not restrict. He continues further. When we say Eid Milad al-Nabi, Eid Milad al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Milad al-Nabi, Mawlid al-Nabi is a day of Eid. We understand the day of Mawlid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as a day of Eid in its linguistic meaning. We are not saying that we are adding another Eid in Sharia that has the same rulings and implications of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. We are not saying this. You are lying to the people when we say, oh, the very new Eid. No. No. Allah said in the Quran, تَكُونُ لَنَا عِيدًا لِأَوَّلِنَا وَآخِرِنَا. That is it. تَكُونُ لَنَا. That has become for us a day of Eid. Linguistically. Eid is what? What does Eid mean? Eid is from Ada Ya'udu. Ada Ya'udu means to return. What returns? I have with me the Sa'ad al-Arab of Ibn Mansur. Inside there, he explained the definition of Eid. He said, كُلُّ يَوْمٍ فِيهِ جَمْعٌ. Eid is that day, every day, where people gather. When they gather, wherever you gather, that linguistically is a day of Eid. Linguistically. Not in the terminology of Sharia. The rules you pray. Amazing, isn't it? That linguistically, the word Eid, according to language, the word Eid is kullu yawmin fihi jam. Every day the people gather. A day where people gather, linguistically that would be termed as a day of Eid. Linguistically. Now that doesn't mean it's an Eid in the Sharia. You are clearly defining to you a difference between Eid Shar'i, which Allah and His Rasul have told us, and Eid Lughawi. Linguistically, why we take the linguistic meaning. When we go into it, another meaning of Eid, in the Arab, according to the Arabs, Al-Waqtu alladhi ya'udu fihi al-farh. Eid linguistically is what? That time in which happiness returns. and He happy returns. When every time happiness returns, linguistically, according to the language of Arabic, this would be termed and deemed as the day of Eid. When we say Eid Milad Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we are saying and using the word Eid here in its linguistic meaning. Do not fool the people to say they have added another Eid to the Sharia. We have not added another Eid to the Sharia. Another Eid to the Sharia. We have not added another Eid to this deen. We haven't. Why are you lying to people? Why are you telling people which isn't true? Why? Why are you fooling people and putting people against the Mawlid? These are your tactics, dirty, cheap tactics on the Salaf. The Salafiyah. Dirty tactics. Why? Oh look, he said Eid Milad Nabi, that means that we do not think this. We do not introduce another Eid into Sharia. Whoever does this is opposing the Sunnah, this is bid'ah dalalah. When we say Eid in its linguistic meaning, and when we look at its meanings, and what the other great lexicographers have mentioned, then you understand why we take its linguistic meaning and we never took its Shar'i meaning. I hope this point clarifies to everyone after today that we, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who celebrate the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ and term it as a day of Eid, tell me, what day is happier to the Muslims than the day the Prophet ﷺ was born? It's the happiest day. There's no more happier day for the believers than the day the Prophet ﷺ came into this world. It's the happiest day. And it's happy for you to be happy for the Prophet ﷺ's birth. It's wajib. It's a rukn of your deen. If you're not happy, you are kharij, you are out, you have no iman. So, when we go by this terminology and understanding, is it jaiz, permissible to say Eid Milad Nabi with the intention, with the objective, in its linguistic meaning? Yes. So I hope he understands that clearly, because everything else he hasn't understood. We don't say that Eid Milad Nabi is fard on every Muslim on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. We don't say. We don't say. Happy returns, what's more happier for the believers than every year, the day of the Prophet ﷺ's birth. In its linguistic meaning, this is what is understood. When they will say, then you are saying the Mawlid practice has asr in the deen. Whatever you term as bid'ah nabawiyyah, understanding, we said that when Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti said Mawlid is a bid'ah, when Hafiz ibn Hajar said Mawlid is a bid'ah, they understood the bid'ah according to what they explained. Don't change the words of those people. Don't misinterpret this. The Mawlid practice has an asr in the deen. And how we do it together collectively, all of these things, that is a bid'ah nabawiyyah in the deen, and that is ijaz. That is permissible. This should clarify to everyone the justification of why we celebrate, commemorate, remember the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. I want to mention another point. In Bukhari and Muslim we read a hadith where Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala al-Majma'in used to catch water of the Prophet ﷺ, blessed water. They used to catch this water. They used to keep the blessed hair, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to fight with one another to see who would catch the water first. My question is, that the Sahaba did this, where's the dalil? Where's the dalil that the Sahaba did this? Where's the evidence and proof from the Quran and Sunnah that they were allowed to do this? They'll say, the dalil is the Prophet ﷺ allowed it. It was done in front of them and they permitted it. So that's why it's fine. But where in the Quran and Sunnah did they find this? Where's that ayah? Where's a clear-cut hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, catch my water? Where is this? They will not find this. Why? Because the rule was, لِتُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُعَزِّرُوهُ وَتُوَكِّرُوهُ. Believe in Allah and His Rasul and honor Him and respect Him. Honor and respect the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Honor and respect him. The daleel was ta'zeem. If the daleel of the Sahaba was ta'zeem, brothers and sisters, we do Mawlid with the very same daleel out of respect for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba understanding was out of respect we catch the water. Out of respect we don't walk in front of them. Out of respect we do all these praiseworthy action out of respect. Then it is permissible for us also. With this understanding, out of respect. This is the daleel that we use. This, my brothers and sisters, so far is the matter of bid'ah, its types of understanding according to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and the mas'ala, the issue of the permissibility of commemorating the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I again ask, present to me one daleel qat'i from the Quran or hadith al-tawatir where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited, they did nahi, that do not celebrate my birthday, do not celebrate the day I was born. Give me one daleel, present this, and we will stop. But they will not be able to do this. The next issue, there's only two more points that I need to go to, is the mas'ala of tark and nahi. He mentioned this point in his original lecture. His principle of understanding is everything left by the Prophet ﷺ is haram. Everything left by Nabi ﷺ is haram. There is no evidence from the classical ulema where they understood this principle the way Imran ibn Mansur understood it. And what the Prophet ﷺ leaves now becomes haram. The basis of his principle was that what the Prophet ﷺ left, we leave. According to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, our understanding is, we said that your principle is wrong, but the Prophet ﷺ prohibited what they told us not to do, that is haram. You understand? What the Prophet ﷺ left, this is not haram. Look, I'll give you an example, I'll go back to the point. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala said the first who gathered the verses of the Quran together was Sayyidina Abu Bakr. The Prophet ﷺ didn't do this. Yani they left this. Therefore by Ibn Mansur, the Salafi managed understanding, the Prophet left this, therefore this is now haram. But Ibn Hajar said, no, this is daleel that if the Sahaba did what the Prophet ﷺ left, they've understood that what Nabi ﷺ leaves is not haram. It's not haram. Because if it was, then they would not have gathered the verses of the Quran together. Sayyidina Uthman would not have introduced the first azan on the day of Jum'ah. Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz would not have built a mihrab. They would not have, because the Prophet left this. According to their principle, we're all wrong. We are wrong. And what's funny is, they fall into it as well. They fall into this as well. Because there's many things the Prophet ﷺ left that they do, which they will justify. But I will say, my brother, don't forget your own principle. Is that haram? No. It's jais. How you justify it in simple layman terms, we will justify it, isn't it? Rashid by Allah, I present the verse of the Quran to justify the Dawah of Ahl Sunnah. نقرأ in the Quran, وَمَا أَعْطَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. This is the verse of the Quran. Can't dispute this. وَمَا أَعْطَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ. What the Messenger of Allah Almighty brings to you, فَخُذُوهُ, take it. وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ, and what He prohibited you from, nahi, fantahu, don't do it. It wasn't what the Prophet ﷺ left. See, you have to listen very carefully. The word wasn't وَمَا تَرَكَكُمْ, what He left for you. What He's told you to leave that. No. It's what the Prophet ﷺ prohibited you from. What Nabi ﷺ has said, do not do, that is then haram. Not what they left. The Quran is telling us this. If it was what it was left, if that was the understanding, then taraka would have been mentioned here, not naha. Naha would not have been mentioned, taraka. And the ulema understood there's a difference between taraka, leaving, and nahi, prohibition. He said, leave what the Prophet left. Leave all Facebook, leave Twitter, get off the social media. This wasn't around then. Or this is bila lughawiyya in the dunya. Don't read the Quran with the third page. Oh, this is bila lughawiyya. It's the deen. Rashid bari Allahumma salli ala. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, bid'ah. This is what they understand, then they will justify it. When it suits them, they justify it. It continues further that I bring Sunan of Ibn Majah. In here is a hadith which is Hasan. Hadith which is Hasan, and because he likes to go to chains to see how strong they are and weak they are, I bought a copy of the Sunnah of Ibn Majah, whose ta'liq was done by Albani himself. So, when you go back and look at what Albani did, I'll tell you, Albani said, Hasan, it's not da'if. Oh, you only bring da'if hadith, unauthentic. Brother, this is Hasan. Don't think that we only bring weak narrations. It's Hasan, it's good. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked, and they said, Al-halalu ma halallahu fi kitabihi. Halal is what Allah Almighty has made halal in His book. Al-haramu ma haram Allah fi kitabihi. What's haram is what Allah has made haram in His book. Halal is clear, haram is clear. Just on this one point I stop. Halal is mentioned, haram is mentioned. Yes? Where's the verse which says Mawlid is haram? Allah mentioned it. And Allah mentioned everything. Halal, haram is in His book. You won't find the hurmat of celebrating the Mawlid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran. This hadith tells us clearly. وَمَا سَكَتَ عَنْهُ, and what He remains silent about. فَهُوَ مِمَّا عَفَا عَنْهُ. These are from those matters which are pardoned. After is done. This is a hadith in Sunan Ibn Majah. Then in the Mustadrak of Imam Hakim, Abu Darda radiallahu anhu said, مَا أَهَلَ اللَّهُ فِي كِتَابِهِ فَهُوَ حَلَالٌ. What Allah said in His book, in relation to halal, made halal, فَهُوَ that's halal. وَمَا حَرَّمَ فَهُوَ حَرَامٌ. What's haram is haram. وَمَا سَكَتَ عَنْهُ, what He remains silent about, عَافِيَةٌ, it has been pardoned. Then فَاقْبَلُوا مِنَ اللَّهِ الْعَافِيَةِ. Accept from Allah Almighty this pardoning. May Allah Ta'ala has left. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ نَسِيًّا. It's key. Allah Almighty does not forget. Allah Ta'ala does not, what he's saying, that Allah forgot to mention it in the Quran, Mawlid is haram. Understand? Allah Ta'ala doesn't say, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Allah does not forget. Allah does not forget. If Mawlid was haram, Allah would have mentioned it's haram. Allah doesn't forget. This is what we have to understand clearly. But the point is, if halal is clear, haram is clear, and what is left, it's pardonable. It's acceptable. Afiyah, faqbalul afi. The words are faqbalu min Allah al-afiyah. Accept from Allah is pardon. And this is the understanding that we take from the words of Sayyidina Abdullah and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, let me give you examples of things, matters which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left and that the Sahaba did. If what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam left and the Sahaba did, according to Imam Mansur's understanding, this would be haram. But why is it not? Why is it not? Because what the Prophet ﷺ left is not haram. You cannot say what they left is haram. The hadith which is mentioned in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari, Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala anhu, a lizard was presented to Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam raised their hand and they did not take this. Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid said, a haramun dabbu. Is the dab, the lizard, haram? The words were, Ya Rasulullah, Messenger of Allah, is eating a lizard haram? Is it haram? From here he stopped. You know what he said? He said, this means the Sahaba understood it was haram. Look, he said the question was, is it haram? The Prophet ﷺ left him. Prophet ﷺ said, La. Nabi Sallallahu is telling Khalid bin Walid, this understanding that you think it's haram? No, it's not haram. It's not haram. I not left it because I thought it was haram. La. وَلَكِنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ بِعَرْضِ قَوْمِي. This is not from the food of my people. This is not from the land of my people. And he eating lizards. And then the Prophet ﷺ, فَأَجِدُنِي أَعَفُ. I find it and I have not ate it. The Prophet ﷺ left it. At this moment in time, what did Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid do? Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid, they took this, فَأَكَلْتُهُ, ate it. Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid ate, the Prophet ﷺ left. The Prophet ﷺ, they asked, is it haram? They said no. So they ate it. Shouldn't it be what the Prophet ﷺ leaves is haram? Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala should not have ate this, but no. Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid eating this is a dalil that what the Prophet ﷺ leaves is not haram. This is a dalil. This is what Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid understood. Are you going to dispute Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala's understanding? Are you going to say he was wrong? Allah, you've already misunderstood Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, Ibn Hajar. You've not spared no one. You've not spared no one. You've attacked everyone. All the Sunnati wal Jama'ah. So this is, then it's also mentioned what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yanzuru ilayya. So the Khalid said the Prophet was looking at me whilst I was eating it. So we understand from this hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam leaves the Sahabi radiallahu ta'ala anhu ate, their eating is a dalil that what the Prophet ﷺ leaves does not become haram. It does not become haram. I now present also, there are reasons for why the Prophet ﷺ would leave. One of the reasons was that they feared it would become fard on the ummah. Like Salatul Tarawih. If they had done this with regularity in the congregation, they feared this would become fard on the ummah, so they didn't do this. They left it. They left doing this with continuity all the time in Ramadan, in the nights. Sayyidina Umar did what the Prophet ﷺ left. Would you now say Sayyidina Umar is doing something which the Prophet left, therefore it's haram? You can't say that. You cannot say that. You already attributed Sayyidina Umar low when he was in. You already said, forget Umar, disrespected them like that. Brother, don't step any further. Do tawbah for what you've already done and accept this understanding. What Sayyidina Umar did, that the Prophet ﷺ left, is not haram, but it becomes a sunnah for me and you as well. It becomes a practice for me and you. I mentioned another example of those actions the Sahaba did that the Prophet ﷺ left. Sayyidina Rifa'a, the son of Rafi, radiallahu ta'ala, they were praying behind the Prophet ﷺ, and I sneezed. He said, Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran, tayyiban, barakan fihi, wa barakan alayhi, kama yuhibbu rabbuna yarda. He said, all praises to Allah Almighty, abundant praise, pure praise, Mubarakan fihi, blessed in that, Mubarakan alayhi, upon that, kama yuhibbu rabbuna. As Allah Almighty is happy, wa yarda, pleased. And the Prophet ﷺ finished their salah. The prayer ended. They said, Manil mutakallim. Who said this? In their salah. Nobody spoke. Second time they asked, who said this? Nobody spoke. Third time they asked, who said, Manil mutakallim, who said these words? Nobody spoke. And they asked again, Sayyidina Rafi ibn Asrar, ta'ala. They said at that moment in time, Ana ya Rasulullah. Messenger of Allah, it was me. I said these words. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, why did you say this? How did you say this? They said, Sayyidina Rafi, Sayyidina Rifa'a said, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه مباركا عليه كما يحبنا ربنا ويرضى. These are the words I said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Walladhi nafsi biyadihi." Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I take an oath by whose hand my soul lies." Don't take this literally. لَكَذِبْ قَدَرَهَا بِدْعَةٌ وَثَلَاثُونَ مَلَكًا أَيُّهُمْ يَسْعَدُ بِهَا. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that 30 or so angels, they were flocking, they were coming to take what you have said and to take this. Angels were flocking to take these words and to write down and get the reward for writing down. To give you this reward, writing down of what you have said inside the prayer. My question is this: did the Prophet ﷺ use these words in the prayer? No. Sayyidina Rifa'a, they use this word, the son of Afra, radiallahu ta'ala. They use these words. The Prophet left something, the Sahabi did something which the Prophet left. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahabi radiallahu ta'ala, they didn't think it's haram because the Prophet left this. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam approved of this. They told him about the reward that he was to get for doing this. The dalil, what the Sahaba leave does not mean it's haram. What the Prophet ﷺ left does not mean it's haram. This is the understanding that we have. It continues further. It continues further in the hadith of Sayyidina Khubayb when he was captured by the mushrikeen who were about to kill him. And he performed 2 units of prayer just before he left this dunya. The words are, فَكَانَ خُبَيْبٌ وَسَنَّ الرَّكْعَتَيْنِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مُسْلِمٍ قُتِلَ صَابِرًا. Sayyidina Khubayb radiallahu ta'ala anhu, sanna, he introduced a practice of 2 rak'ahs. He introduced a practice of performing 2 rak'ahs. لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مُسْلِمٍ قُتِلَ صَابِرًا. For every Muslim person who is about to be killed, to read 2 rak'ahs before he dies. This is the sunnah of who? Sayyidina Khubayb. The Prophet ﷺ didn't do this. Yani they left this. This is a belief that the Sahaba, Ridwanullahi ta'ala ajma'in, understood what the Prophet ﷺ believes does not become haram. Anything, this was an action which was approved. These were actions which the Prophet ﷺ approved. We go on to the hadith which is muttafaq alayhi, Bukhari and Muslim, of Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he used to perform 2 units of prayer after every tahiyyatul wudu, every wudu. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, Bilal, I seen that your footsteps, I heard them in paradise. I could hear, what do you do? What is it you do that I can hear your footsteps in Jannah? So Bilal said, I performed 2 units of prayer after performing wudu. This was the amal of Sayyidina Bilal. The Prophet ﷺ left this, proved it and left. Then, by leaving this, shouldn't it become haram? Didn't they do something the Prophet ﷺ didn't do? Isn't this now bid'ah? According to their understanding and terminology. But Prophet ﷺ, at that moment in time, it was accepted. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam approved. They understood what Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam believes does not become haram. He said what the Prophet ﷺ believes becomes haram. Where did he get this understanding? How can he come to this conclusion? We then continue about the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in Sunan of Imam Nasai, where this hadith, again I've got the copy which Albani did ta'liq of, he said it's sahih. He said you only bring weak hadith, you're fooling the people, you base your evidences on weak narration. Brother, this is sahih, sound narration. Albani has said this himself. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, Sayyidina Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala said, Allah be pleased with the Sahaba, indeed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kharaja ala halqatin, yani min ashabi. They came to gathering with the Sahaba were together. And they said, Ma ajlasakum. Why did you were sitting all together? They said, Jalasna nad'u Allah. We sit to supplicate to Allah Almighty. Wa nahmaduhu. And we praise Him. Ala ma hadana li dinihi. For what He has guided us to His religion. We thank Allah for guiding. And then they said, وَمَنَّا عَلَيْنَا بِكَ. Memorize these words. They use it. Manna alayna bika. We have sat here to praise Allah Almighty for honoring us with you, Ya Rasulullah. We are thanking Allah that He blessed us for being with you, Ya Rasulullah, for you coming, the honor. And Allah Almighty favored us by sending you to us. Manna alayna bika. Prophet ﷺ said, Allah, ma ajlasakum ila dhalik. Swear by Allah, take an oath by Allah, that what made you sit here was nothing but that. You only sat for this reason. Illa dhalik. Sahaba said, Qalu. They all said, Allah, by Allah, ma ajlasana illa dhalik. We did not sit here except for that reason. We sat here to thank Allah for sending you, for honoring us through you. My brothers and sisters, we are sat here for the very same reason as well. This is in the Sunnah. This is what the Sahaba did. This is our Daleel. This hadith is Sahih. You can't dispute this. Imran bin Mansur, I ask you, bring a chain that you make up that will go against this guy. Sahih. You said all by the line of Da'if, Sahih. Look at the understanding of the Sahaba. You know what's even greater? What Sayyidina Rasulullah said after this. It's amazing, unbelievable. Why? Because it's in defense of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. said, Ama inni lam astakhlifkum tuhmatan lakum. Allahu Akbar. Nabi ﷺ said, "O my companions, do not think, I did not ask you to swear by Allah Almighty because I accused you of lying." Look, Nabi ﷺ said that I did not ask you to take an oath by Allah because I accuse you. I'm not accusing you. Nabi ﷺ know, and they accept to sit, to praise Allah for sending them. It is permissible, it is jais, it is allowed. Nabi ﷺ said, the reason why I'm telling you is this. إِنَّمَا أَتَانِي جِبْرِيلُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. Jibreel has just come to me right now. فَأَخْبَرَنِي, and he informed me, أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُبَاهِي بِكُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Allah Almighty makes mention of you amongst the angels. Amazing, eh? So when Jibreel came to the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, why? To tell the Prophet ﷺ that Allah Almighty is remembering the Sahaba. For what reason? Because they remember the Prophet. So if Allah is remembering the Sahaba and thanking, why? Because they thank Allah for sending the Prophet. We do the very same thing. We are also being remembered in the great gathering. We are remembered in Al-Mala al-A'la. These gatherings are gatherings which are accepted, not rejected. Hadith is very clear, it is sahih, not da'if. In tajweed, da'if. My throat's going da'if, I'm saying that, I'm saying. That's a daleel. The Prophet ﷺ did not do this. I mean, they left this. The Sahaba did it. They did something which the Prophet ﷺ left, alayhi salatu wasalam. Does that now mean it's haram? No. It's not haram. It's not haram. It is jais. It is permissible for you to gather and remember the Prophet ﷺ to praise them. One point Shaykh Asrar mentioned in his speech, let me tell you. He made this point very clear in his speech. With this intention, it is fine. To use this then within the terms of Mawlid gathering, that's what a Mawlid gathering is. Mawlid gathering is this definition of the Sahaba. This is what we understand from these ahadith. This is what Ibn Hajar, Imam Suyuti, and Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah understood from these ahadith. This, according to the Quran, Sunnah and the Sahaba, is the explanation of his false principle and understanding that leave the Prophet left. So what the Prophet ﷺ left is haram? No. What the Prophet ﷺ left and the Sahaba then did, this doesn't automatically become haram. It can be categorized. We can categorize this into what amal. My question now is Mawlid haram? Makruh? It comes under permissible. Jais, for us to congregate with all those individual merited actions, tilawat, naat, praising the Prophet ﷺ, doing speeches, all of this is jais and permissible. I come towards the end part of my speech. His followers are saying, Imam, inverted commas, he sidetracked, he's moved away from the topic, his proofs are irrelevant, they are not authentic. Let me make it clear. The proofs that I presented, these are Abdullah, the Uda Hadith, these are proofs that the ulema, the Sunnah presented. This is the understanding of Ibn Hajar, Imam Suyuti, Imam Al-Jazari, and all the great ulama. When you say, my proofs are irrelevant, you are saying the ulama of the Sunnah's proofs are irrelevant, which the biggest mistake the Salafis have always made. This is the biggest problem. When it suits them, they take the ulama. When it doesn't suit them, they go against them. 1 minute Ibn Hajar, he's Shaykh al-Hadith. He's the our ummah is indebted to him. The next minute, he said it's permissible that he made a mistake. Make your mind up. Either you're with him or you're against him. And I'll tell you, the truth is, their ideology is flawed, full of contradictions, and against the teachings of the Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah. He said that what you mentioned, Muqaddimah bin Salah, what you mentioned about da'if hadith, you can't take. Ajib. They've not understood the hadith which is da'if. They said, forget, you can't accept this. This was not the way of the muhaddithin. There is ijma' amongst muhaddithin that weak hadith can be used for fadail, for manaqib. You are saying something which goes against the ijma' of the muhaddithin. Going against ijma' is a grave sin. It's a big error. It's going against that. Ajib, this individual has not understood usul al-fiqh, usul al-hadith. He's not understood anything. I think he's been watching the debate Shaykh Asrar, Shaykh Yaseen had against Abdulrahman and taking points out of that. The Rashid. He said his book is one of the first books in usul al-hadith. المقدمة يجوز عند أهل الحديث وغيرهم التساهل في الأسانيد. According to the scholars of hadith and other than them, it is permissible that a leniency inside the chain is permitted. ورواية ما سوى الموضوع من أنواع الحديث الضعيفة, and narrating everything other than a fabrication from the types of weak hadith is permissible according to the scholars of hadith. When you say hadith wrong, rejected, are you going to say Ibn Salah is wrong, Imam Nawawi is wrong, Bukini is wrong, Qadi Abu Bakr ibn Arabi is wrong? Are you going to say Imam Suyuti is wrong, Ibn Hajar is wrong, Imam Nawawi, Abu Shama, all the ulema, Shaykh al-Islam, Zakaria al-Ansari, they are wrong. The great muhaddithin, the Imam Hadith, they are wrong. You know Imam Bukhari is al-Adab al-Mufrad. How many weak hadiths have he mentioned? Is he wrong? Are you going to say Imam Bukhari was wrong? That he mentioned weak hadith? When there's weakness in the hadith, it relates to this chain. You know the words of Rasulullah never said they're weak. Are you saying the words of the Prophet are weak? Ma'adallah. Is this what he's implying? The words of Nabi Sallallahu can never be weak. Allah said in the Quran, مَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. The Prophet never spoke from himself. They only what was revelation. So you can say the words of Rasulullah are weak. When we say a hadith is weak, we say the chain is weak. When we say hadith is mawdu, we say the chain is made up and the words are made up and attributed to the Prophet. They've not understood the concept of weak hadith. And my brothers and sisters, I'll go in advance, I will be preparing a full lecture on this subject. Because they do not understand this. Weak hadith is a big issue. According to the Salafi manhaj, it's huge. They don't. We only take Sahih. We only take Sahih. To the point, Albani, what did he do? Nasiruddin al-Albani, he said that Da'if Adab al-Mufrad and Sahih Adab al-Mufrad. Imam Bukhari mentions weak hadith is Sahih. Why? The hadith which is Mursal. Why? Mursal hadith is a type of weak. Why does Bukhari mention it there? That means Imam Bukhari accepts weak hadith. They accept, Ibn Abu Sudi, you don't accept. How? I don't accept you. No. I accept them, they are strong. You are weak, I'll never accept you. You said that my points were irrelevant. The ulema mentioned these points, they are relevant. Brother, you are irrelevant. You are authentic, and you are irrelevant. Simple. That's my conclusion. You are irrelevant, and and you are unauthentic. You are naive and you have no relevance in this matter. Bring your scholars, we don't debate jahils.
جشن عيد ميلاد النبي
You're irrelevant and you are weak. That's the conclusion of all this discussion online. What I said is relevant because I follow the Ahlul Sunnah. What I have said, what you deem authentic, I deem authentic because I follow the Ahlul Sunnah. So, when we understand that their understanding of weak hadith is flawed, they do not understand weak hadith, it takes me to the point of the Salafi manhaj. Let's openly talk about this. Like we need to talk about many other issues. Perennialism, Darwinism, atheism, very good. The Salafis, they always say, isnad, chain, chain. Everything needs to be a chain. My question to them, where are the chains for your manhaj? How far back do you go? Tell me. 200 years, 300 years, you were made up. You came out of nowhere. Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, your reviver. You mentioned, he revived your understanding of Tawheed. Where did he come from? Who was he getting money from? It's true. Read the memoirs of Humphrey, what's it called? Confessions of a British spy, the text, obviously, because this man was the one who wanted to bring fitna into the ummah. Beware of Qarn al-Shaytan. Ulema said Qarn al-Shaytan was in his time Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. The Wahhabi, Salafi, they say Wahhabi, look, you disrespect Allah. Allah Ta'ala's sifat is Al-Wahhab. Alif Lam is used. Wahhab, that's not specific to Allah Almighty. Alif Lam comes for Marif Bilam. It comes for specific. Yani makes it Marifa. No longer means Nakira. In Nakira terms, common terms, using Salam. Somebody said, can I name Asul Wahhab? You can't. Can I name Al-Wahhab? No, you can't. If you're going to name him Al-Wahhab, Abdul Wahhab. Abdul Wahhab. You can't use Al-Wahhab on his own. We say Wahhabi. Going back to Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab's name, his name. We don't intend the sifa of Allah Almighty. You are just spreading lies again, saying, oh look, call us Wahhabi. We need to identify, we need to give it a name. We say Najdi, because they came from Najd. We say Salafi, call themselves Salafi. You are the Surah Salaf. You follow Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. No, you don't. You don't follow Imam Ahmad. We'll expose you for everything you say. You do not follow Imam Ahmad. We'll expose, no problem. Where did you start from? We started from Ma ana alayhi ashabi. The way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah is our title, my brother, not your title. You are hijacking. The Salafis, extremists. The Salafis, suicide bombers. Hate preachers and Jam Chowdhury, Salafi. Omar Bakri, Salafi. Imran ibn Mansur, Salafi. You're all Salafi. I'm telling you straight. You are Salafi, you're for the Salafi manhaj. Give me one example Or we have one person who celebrates the Mawlid, went on blue and did a suicide. One example. We don't do that. That's not the way of our ulema. That's not the way of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Allahu Akbar. Hey preachers, you all read the article? Who's listed? Mansur. You preach hatred and extremism. You sympathize with terrorists. And you want to talk about the Mawlid? You want to talk about the matters of the deen? When the Prophet ﷺ said there's no extremism in this deen. Till today, I've never exposed you or mentioned you. These are points I prepared for today. People need to know who you are, what you are. You are an extremist. Media outlets acknowledge this. Your name has been mentioned clearly. You're telling me that this is your understanding of the deen. Is Islam extreme? It's a religion of aman. It's a religion of sukoon. We don't terrorize our neighbors. We don't terrorize zimmis that live in our state. You, my brother, you believe in everything otherwise. You follow that way which opposes the way of the Prophet ﷺ. You are people who are literalists. You take verses that were revealed on kuffar and mushrikeen, you apply it to me. You apply it to the Ahlul Sunnah. We go to graves, they worship the graves. We kiss our thumbs, they worship the Prophet. We say the Prophet is the greatest in the creation of Allah, they say the Prophet is God. You misconstrue our words. You take our words out of context. You do everything that is against the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anthropomorphistic beliefs, the bid'ah. So in innovation, the Mujassima, I mentioned, Al-Izz bin Abdul Salam mentioned that it is wajib to speak out against deviancy. It is wajib. It's from the innovation which is wajib. Who? Mujassima. The people of Tajsim who say, Allah sits on a throne. In one of his videos, he said Allah sits on a throne. This issue of anthropomorphism, to attribute limb and body part protection to Allah. Allah is free from all of this. Our ulama have explained this. They are literalists, anthropomorphists. This is their belief. This is what they understand of the deen. This is against the understanding of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is against the understanding of Ijma'. This is against the understanding of the Sunnah. This is against the understanding of the Quran. This is what the Salafis believe. We will point by point prove this to you if you want. We've got all evidences. They're all present and mawjood. I'm not just saying this in passion, or I'm not saying this because I feel like saying it. There is documented evidence. Evidence that proves this. We see that when it suits them, they'll take a verse. When it doesn't suit them, they'll deny. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشْرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. Tell them I am human like you. I have skin like you. They said, look, the Prophet's a human. They take half this verse, they don't read you how the other part they forgot. Where the Prophet said, I am like you, at the same place, same time in the Quran, Allah Almighty said, Allah sends revelation on him. Prophet said, revelation comes to me. Will revelation come to you? Dawah man, where is Dawah? You are Dawah. Not Dawah. Where is Dawah? Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Allah tells us what da'wah is. Ud'u, call to the way of Allah, bil hikmah, with wisdom. My brother, you lack wisdom. Because if you had wisdom, you'd face me like a man. Sit behind the screen. When I say that I will debate you, Please, my brother, do not think I want to sit in Costa and talk to you one-on-one. No. I said, I want to debate you. I want a camera there, and you, and your hand movements. And your lip movement. Just you. And I want one on me and my beard. The sunnah. I want one where you present your proofs, I present my proofs. I want a crowd there. I want you to bring your tablet, Samsung Galaxy tablet, the iPhone tablet, and I bring the books of the Sunnah. Find out where it is. So, when I say I want to debate you, I want to debate you in the public. In the public debate, in front of everyone, not behind a screen. I don't do that. I have done my talks in public in front of everyone. I'm not doing it behind a screen. They were short video clips. People were learning the deen, we were refuting him. But the debate is here. This individual, he claims to be the Ahlul Sunnah. Me the Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Why do you say you're Salafi then? Say you're Sunni. Stop saying Salafi. True, you say you're Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Say you're a Sunni, why you say you're a Salafi? Stop using the term Salafi. Sunni are you? If you're Ahlul Sunnah, say that we are Sunnis. But you know what? The whole world knows. Sunni is attributed to us. Title. It's a Pakistani thing, Bravery thing. Ajib. Our Imam, Imam Muhammed. He was the reviver of his century. Till today, I believe that reviver is yet to come who can take this claim, that he's the reviver of our time. These people that walk around and say they're Mujaddid, you don't say whilst they're alive. This Tajdid walking around, they can't prove Mujaddidiyat from this. As Ajib. When we say Ala Hazrat was Mujaddid, we all know what Ala Hazrat did, that he received the unanimous title from all over the world, that he is Mujaddid. He was the reviver. He revived the Sunnah, he did not revive Bid'ah. He fought against the Bid'ah, the fitnas of Diyoband, the fitnas of Najd, the fitnas of the Salafi. He fought against this. This is what Ala Hazrat did. You know, Ala Hazrat, Shah Abdul Haq on this day, Shah Waliullah, Maulana Fadl Haq Khairabadi, the great Mullah Jivan, Mullah Likadi, Imam Rabbani, Mujaddid Al-Fisani, Sayyid Ghamghol Sharif, Imam Suyuti, Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani, Haythami, all these scholars, you said that he was coming, sorry. All these scholars, all of them, these were revivers of their time. We follow them. We follow our Aimma. We don't follow what you follow. We don't follow Albani. We don't follow your scholars. They rejected all these Aimma. Said direct to Quran and Sunnah. How can you understand Quran and Sunnah when you don't understand the difference between Harf al-Sharb and Harf al-Mushabbah al-Fi'l? How can you understand? Direct Quran and Sunnah. We don't take the Aimma. When it suits you, you take it from contradiction. Contradiction. They contradict themselves. They don't understand the deen. The Salafis need to be exposed. Why? Because the Iman of our youngsters, the Iman of the Muslims needs to be protected from this deviancy and this fitna. You know, in Green Lane, speak against Ghamghol Sharif. You know, suicide bombers come from that. They come from that ideology of manhaj, quickly. From that understanding. It doesn't come from our understanding. You don't see it from those that follow the way of Imam Ahmad Rida, or those that follow the way of Imam, the great Imam of the past, the Rashid Parikh. It didn't come from them. We don't take this from them. We don't follow the way of the Salaf, the Salafiyah. We follow the way of who? The true Asrar. The Imam Junaid al-Baghdadi and Bishr Hafiz, the true men of Tasawwuf. We follow them. We follow the great Aimma. who the ulama and the ummah agreed upon their greatness and the great level that they were. We follow these people. People need to understand the deen. Where are you taking your deen from? Imran ibn Mansur, who reads off a laptop and a tablet. You're taking your deen from those who oppose Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim. You take your deen from these people. Ajib. Fanzuru amman ta'khuzuna dinakum. Look where you take your religion from. Why are you taking it from ignorant, jahil people? People who say, I'm a jahil, I'm a street lad. If you're a street lad, stay where you are. Why are you opposing the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah? Who told you you could do this? Who said you could oppose the Aimah that spent their entire life dedicated to the deen, who are masters of the language? And by their standard, this was the bare minimum. By your standard, still work on harf shart and harf shart bil fi'l. You still not understood the difference. Lucian Korea. Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah don't produce extremists, terrorists, suicide bombers, hate preachers. This is not from us. We are not from that way. We do not do this. We are people who love the ulama, the sunnah, the true ulama of Ahlul Sunnah. We follow the tradition of our aimma, ulama. We follow the tradition of the Salaf. We follow the tradition of the Sahaba. We follow the way of the Prophet of Allah. We have a sani chains from us now all the way back to the Prophet. We have this. They say we have Imam al-Jazari. I ask you a question. What did Imam Jazari understand about Mawlid? Did he allow it or not? If you say Imam Jazari is accepted, you accept him, that by our chains of Qiraat go back to him, then also accept that he accepted Mawlid. You start doing it as well. So, we need to keep this point clear in mind. This is the fitna of our time. They hijack the title Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They are not Ahlul Sunnah. Shall I tell you something? Once the great Rate of Pakistan, Khatib of Pakistan, one of the speaker that I look up to, the one who defended the Sunnah, Muhammed Shafi'ee rahmatullahi ta'ala. Maulana Karni Sahib, rahmatullahi, one of his speech he mentioned such a point. He said, the people of Bid'ah, you bring towards your awliya. And the people of the Ahlul Sunnah, you bring our awliya. You know what the difference is between the Ahlul Sunnah and Ahlul Bid'ah? We have Ghamghol Sharif. We have Khwaja Ajmer. We have Ikhtiyar Kaki. We have Abdi Naqshband. We have those who are masters of external and internal sciences. People like you, Imam Ali Shah Sahib rahmatullah challenge. If your dawah is true, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, you jump into the fire. I'll jump in the fire. Ulama who put these challenges out with conviction. Why? These were people of haqq. They were blessed with the knowledge of dunya. These were great aimma, great scholars. They believed in true tasawwuf, not this fake tasawwuf where fireworks blow off. The tasawwuf? No. We need to rectify our own state. Point to bear in mind. When those points were mentioned in that video clip, it was what? What's tasawwuf? Ajib. Is tasawwuf restricted to the turbans we wear? The jubbahs we wear? Is tasawwuf how many murids you have? You've got hundreds of thousands. Is tasawwuf what? Going against the sunnah. What's tasawwuf? Is it a numbers game? Who has the most murid? Who looks the best? This is a tasawwuf. Did Imam Junaid Baghdadi do this? Tell me. Imam Khwaja Ajmer. People say tasawwuf. No, Falana Pir Sahab. When we hear the word Pir, we think tasawwuf. We think spirituality. What's tasawwuf? Tasawwuf is limited to these people who, when they come, fireworks go off in the airport, the whole airport will shut down. Ajib, this is not tasawwuf. It's true. This is not tasawwuf.
Okay, Nara Takbir, Nara Risalat, Nara
This is not tasawwuf. This is not tasawwuf. Tasawwuf is a joke today, according to these people. This understanding of tasawwuf, people are fooled. Haram actions are taking place under the name of tasawwuf. Why are we condemning them? Don't give me a title that I'm not. I am not Sharia Sunnah. Don't give me a title that I'm not. Don't insult the true Shaykh of the Sunnah. Don't insult the true Munazas of Islam. We are nothing. I am not a Munazara, I'm not a Munazir, and I'm not a line of the Sunnah. This is your love, whatever it is. I am not. I am not worthy to be considered in the category of the true lines. Imam Suyuti's category, Allah Hazrat's category. I am not worthy to stand in that. You know, one day, somebody did an Arab Maulana Qarvi Sahib in his speech. I heard it in my own ears in a recording. They said, Khatib Ahl Sunnah, Maulana Muhammad Shafi'ee Qarvi. He said, don't do this. Allah's Nara and His Nabi's Nara. Don't put my name in the same sentence. I'm not in that. This is the truth. Our Sunni Awam, they go over the top on these slogans. It's the truth. We give slogans where they not deserve it. I am a student of knowledge. I am a talib al-ilm. I'm nothing more than that. I haven't done what these ulema have done. Wallahi, I say from my heart. Why should I fool people? Tell me. Why should I tell people that I've done Qazi Mubarak, I've done Abdullah Hassan? I haven't done these books. But what we do have is till our last moment, we will defend the Aqidah of that Muslim. If me, for the knowledge I have, can do this much, then what is the maqam of the true ulama? People like my Ustaz, Maulana Zulfikar. People like Hussain Shaykh Asrar. People say he's extreme. He speaks the truth. People say he's Shaami. He defends the Aqidah. True ulama. These are ulama here. Maulana Ijaz, Shaami, Shaykh Yaseen, these are all ulama. Maulana Sajjad, what are these people? These are ulama who defend the truth, Aqidah Ahl Sunnah. Somebody said this about me in Holland on the weekend. Sharia Sunnah Munazir Islam. You know what I said? Astaghfirullah al-Azim. I seek refuge from Allah. I ask for forgiveness. I said, don't say that about Allah. That's a lie. If you say it out of your love, keep that in your heart. I don't want people to be fooled. The reality is reality. I might have a following. I might be whatever I am. That is what Allah's ata and the karam of the Prophet ﷺ. What I really am is nothing but a beggar at the door of the Nabi ﷺ. The Ummah will never gather upon halala. Majority, if not all the Ummah, celebrates the Mawlid of the Prophet. That's our dalil. We mentioned this. So please, I know you did it in your love. I love you and respect you for that. But the truth is, I am not worthy of any of these titles. The people who are truly worthy, those who put day and night effort in putting these books and giving and teaching me this. Asatiza, those who are truly worthy, the tradition that we follow, the way of Imam Ahmad Rida, Fazl Breli, Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. The truth is now, final point, and I'll finish on this. Imran ibn Mansur, I directly speak to you. You've called your title, your speech, the end of the Mawlid debate. I give you 2 days. 2 days. All these people are witness. This clip is going to be edited and put all over social media, and everyone will share it from Makkah. You, my brother, have said you're a jahil. You are no longer involved in this. You are. I don't want to debate you no more. Because a fool, Imam Shafi'ee said, when I debated the ulama, I destroyed them. When I went to the level of a fool, and when I debated a fool, he brought me down to their level, and he beat me. This is jahil. I think he's brought me to his level, but he hasn't beaten him. I've approached this issue in a scholastic way, but trust me, people know me for my drugs and alcohol talks. They know me for my freestyle way of speaking. I could very easily freestyle you in that as well. I'm not a rapper like you are. You are a rapper. You was a rapper, ex-rapper, etc. 2 days I gave you, let Ustaz, your Ustaz AbdulRahmanHassan, who is against the Ashari and Maturidi way, who speaks against Ahlul Sunnah, tell him, and all your teachers, they have 2 days to respond to my challenge of a debate. 2 days. 2 days to debate the ulema, the scholars of the Salafi manhaj. 2 days. Within 2 days, give me an answer. Otherwise, after today's speech and explanation, trust me, everyone will understand and accept what? That we are on haq. So, keep that point in mind. 2 days, brother, to respond to my challenge. I want an answer, but on a mobile, and I'll give you a number to contact. Inbox me on direct message on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat me. I'm on Snapchat as well. You can contact me in Bradford. You can ring the madrasa's number. You can ring Ghamghol Sharif. You can ring anyone that is Sunni. Tell them, we accept your debate, we reject your debate. Don't leave it hanging. We've done it for 2 weeks. People say, oh, he's sidetracking, challenging to a debate. Remember, men, they challenge each other face to face. You know, virtual fighting, nothing. You could be a keyboard warrior all your life. That's a virtual fight. You know, we, from a tradition, we go face to face. Face it like men. And we'll enter, and we will debate, and we will refute, and we will destroy your ideology. You have 2 days to respond to me, my brother. I give you 2 days. Don't let me down. I can say yes or no. Any venue, your choice, where you want. If you accept, you decide. I'll pay for it. I've got, don't worry, multi-millionaires with you. They will pay for you any place, any time. You want to come in style, whatever. Your ulema, you bring them. You can carry their tablets. I hope to get an answer from you. May God, Allah Almighty, Allah accept what's been said. Because the true understanding of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا